Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? I'm doing my homework, and my site just crashed, and I lost everything, so good evening. Oh, that sucks. Hi, Arch. We are waiting a little bit, because I'm waiting on a friend to be able to, join the stream. And then we'll get started. But for now, I have a little Solix doodle that I was working on. And I was just gonna draw little doodles from Alternate Universe so far. He's in the little ferret bed. Remember from last chapter? He had the little ferret bed. Yeah, I've been thinking about him. You guys have no idea. I woke up this morning. My first thought was not something that happens in the previous chapters, but something that's gonna happen like down the line. And I was like I wanted to keep reading so bad. I was like, I've read this before. I literally know the scene, and I was like, I'm not going to. I'm not gonna skip ahead, you know. Even though like I've read it before, but I was like, no, I'm gonna resist. But I was like waking up, and I it was in like the first thing that popped in my head was thinking about this fucking fic. It's so in my brain all the time. But yeah, he's everything to me. Look at the little guy. I'm thinking about the scene where he hold on. He has Carcat up against the wall in the hallway or in the staircase. And like they could kiss, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, they could kiss. You know what I mean? And he's like, don't you ever pity me. Oh. Anyway, I'm thinking about them. But yeah. So we're going to, we're gonna get started eventually, but we're gonna probably be another, like, 20 minutes or so, by my estimations. So we're just gonna doodle hang out until then. I had a zine piece I was working on, which I sadly can't show, but I'm very excited for when the zine eventually comes out. Because I was doing stuff for it. So, but how's everybody been? What's everybody been up to? You know, we're vibing today. We're gonna read in a little bit. I decided to read YWP a lot slower, as you could tell, because I want to savor it. Like you said, yeah, you start getting to the point where it's like, oh, I only have 10 chapters left, and you're like, shit, I should take this slower. See, because when there's like 60 chapters, right? You're on like chapter 15, and you're like, that's so far off. Like, I'm not even halfway. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even halfway there, and so it's like I can just like read as fast as I want. But then you start getting like, okay, I'm like 5 chapters away from being caught up, and you're like really reading it slowly. I finished a book. It feels so good to be invested in a series again. Yeah, I'm excited. I think Alternate Universe has probably one of my favorite. I think it has the best pacing out of all unda fics, and I think it has the best ending. And I think it has some of my favorite moments. I think Alternate Universe is such a solid fic overall in concept and conception and execution. Just like I fucking love it. Oh my god. Yeah, it really is, Skitty. I think and I've said this before when I've recommended it to people. you can take alternate universe, replace the names of the characters, right? And like if you changed a couple things with like the magic system maybe and some of the terms that are used, you could get away with like publishing it. I think like obviously it probably would need like some editing and a couple things here and there, but you could totally get away with whatchamacallit, with publishing it as its own thing. Been reading a series, physical book series, and have not touched books for so long. My concept of length is so weird. Yeah, I think it's so funny because like, the point of comparison I always use is the Harry Potter books, even though I fucking hate J.K. Rowling. But that's like the thing that I know the best because I read it a ton as a kid. But like the first Harry Potter book is like 100k words, which is like not a lot. Like in my brain, and obviously that's like the shortest one, but like now knowing what I read, right? I'm like, that's like nothing. That's like nothing. Like all of Harry Potter, all 7 books back to back are like just under 1 million words, which is like wild to me because YWDMP is like is the length, and then a little like Dave's Broken Diamond Club is longer than the entire Harry Potter series. I never read Harry Potter. I was always a Percy Jackson fan. Yeah. It's people are sometimes usually one or the other. I read Percy Jackson growing up, but I didn't get like super attached. So yeah. Okay, I can say this now because I'm binding this fic specifically. It's like 10-inch tall stack. Holy shit. That's huge. Wait, do I have a ruler? How long is 10 inches? Where's my ruler? 10 inches? Holy fuck. I have a ruler here, and that's like a fucking lot. Wow. That's crazy. How many books are in the series, Kitty? Because you couldn't. I'm assuming you couldn't. You didn't bind them all. I think I remember you. You didn't bind them all into one, right? You had like a couple you were doing. 5. Okay. So 5 books. How many pages are each? It's in Daunting Text and Unda server. Oh yeah. There's like a another fucking. Oh my god, yeah, it's so big. Wow. Holy shit. It looks so sick. Do you think you're gonna do the other fix, or are you just pretty much sticking to alternate universe? Because I know like just doing one, I know has been like I've seen you doing it. It's been like a fucking pain sometimes to pull it off, like doing all the formatting and stuff. I think alternate universe also has like probably the least amount of pester logs. Alternate universe is 700, like a little bit over 700 words, 700,000 words. Check out Worth the Candle. It's 1.6 million words and 260 something chapters. Ooh, okay. I will mark it in my bookmarks. Is it a Homestuck thing? Oh, it's original. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I imagine the pester logs are a fucking pain in the ass. Sino! That's what I was waiting on. Sino, do you like my doodles? I'm thinking about last chapter. How are you doing? He looks like OMG. Yeah, he does. He's fucking vibing. He has his little ferret hammock. And he's fucking relaxing. And this is when they were in the when Solix threatens Karkat in the hallway. Okay, anyways, alright. Okay. We are done with doodles. It is time for reading. Hello, Loon. Anybody who's here, anybody who's here for the first time, we are 3 chapters. Well, technically 2. But we are about to be 3 chapters into a fic we're reading, on stream. I'm reading a fanfiction on stream. It's hard to recap because even despite this being just the first 3 chapters, there's a lot of shit that has happened. But I will do my best. So I'm starting a little recap, or at least I'll try to recap like last chapter too. But essentially, we are our POV is a character named Karkat Vantis. He is a now student at Salem University. He did not apply for it. He got a letter saying that he got a full ride scholarship and just decided to accept because Salem University is one of the most like prestigious magical schools, and of course you get something like that and you're like, well, I have to accept this, despite being that Karkat is pretty sure he has no magical capabilities at all. He doesn't know why the fuck he was chosen, but nonetheless he goes. Karkat, also, for important context, is one of the victims to something called the event. That's all that they've referred to it as. And the event was something that caused all the gods to disappear from the world, and a whole set of people lost their memories, like all their memories, from like they just woke up and they had a key and they could access, a building. But outside of that, like, they don't have any memory. They only know their name. And this happened 5 years ago, right? So Karkat doesn't know his, and Karkat also doesn't know his species. He knows that he is not human, but he doesn't know what he is. So anyways, he gets an acceptance letter from Salem University. He meets his roommates, or his roommate, Rose, and Rose's brother, Dave, and Dave's roommate, Solux. And they also meet 2 others, June and Jade, who are Dave's friends. Rose and Dave are twins. Solux and Karkat meet in a kind of strange way. Solux is a demon, and Karkat, on the way to the library, sees him, doesn't know who he is, and but Solux starts to stalk him and chase him, and Karkat gets freaked out, runs into the library. Solux confronts him in kind of a playful way and kind of teasing way, and calls Karkat by his name. And Karkat doesn't recognize him, doesn't know who he is, and is surprised to know that this demon knows his name. And Solux is surprised that Karkat is surprised, and Karkat doesn't know, and then quickly shuts up and bamfs out, despite Karkat demanding that he tell him, why do you know my name? Do you know me from the event? Do you know who I am? All that sort of stuff. Solux leaves. And Karkat returns back to his dorm, and he's like, kind of sad about it. And shocker, Dave and Solux are roommates. And that's how they meet, and Dave is like, dude, you can't do that. You can't be mean to Karkat like that. And Karkat ends up making a deal with Solux to get 5 questions from him that he has to answer truthfully. He uses 2 of them, and all that he ends up learning is that, yes, Solux knew him before the event, pretty much. Some more stuff happens. Solux and Karkat have this kind of weird dynamic back and forth, where Solux is very, like, aggressive, and Karkat also is, like, very aggressive, and Karkat doesn't really understand why Solux irritates him so much. And now we are here. We have Rose and Karkat in a class for like foresight and fortune telling, and they are about to start using Ouija boards. So yeah, that was such a shitty recap. I should write down a chapter by chapter recap. I really should. It's so much info. It's kind of hard. We're gonna get to like chapter 15, and I won't be able to do chapter by chapter recaps anymore, because there's just gonna be so much that happens. So yeah, no worries, Loon. Hope you have a nice rest of your night. Okay, here we go. It's time. All right. All right. Chapter 3, Spell Work. The timings for each day begin just after the stroke of midnight, so it's really important that by the end of each day, We've all checked in all the books that have been returned. In the last half hour before midnight, it's key to check all of the drop boxes. We'll try to limit how late we schedule you since you're not nocturnal, but I'll end up taking you through at least one overnight shift so you know how it's done, Kanaya explains, patting her hand on top of a return book box. Right, so a student returns a book in there, and then what, you ask. Kanaya opens up the book return box and takes out a stack of books, placing them in your arms. We take them back to the office and check them in. We look for damages and check the return date. Come with me, she explains, and leads you back towards the glass office. The two of you settle in seats together with your stack of returned books. These are all standard books, so all we have to do is check that they're in good condition. We look through to be sure no one has written in them or highlighted anything, and then we check the date. If it's before or if it's on its return date, then it's fine, and we check it back in our system and send it to the return pile, she says, and gestures to a book trolley off to the side. Okay, and let's say I open this book and someone's written in it or torn a page out, something horrible like that. What happens then, you ask? Well, if someone's defaced a book, they will be fined. We ensure that they pay this fine by calling up the magical signature of their library card. As per the terms of membership, they accept fines and punishments. There's a hex that we run, which moves all added text, highlighting and such, to the skin of the offender, starting with the face. The text can only be removed by us once they've paid the fine and been subjected to any other penalties that mispaid decides on. Actual vandalism, like tearing a page out, is above our pay grade, and cases like that go right to Miss Paint herself, but that's never happened in all my years. I dread to think what she might do. Kanaya shudders in horror for a moment. Holy shit. What do we do if a book is just late? You ask, half dreading the answer. At midnight, any books overdue are flagged on the computer system, and we send out an email entailing what they owe us and how the fine will increase as time goes on, she explains. Oh, that's not so bad. Of course, we found that people didn't check their emails, so it also curses them with a black mark on their hand that grows as time goes on, she says airily. Oh, okay then. I don't remember reading anything about that when I got my student card, you whisper in horror. It's somewhere in the fine print on the back, and in a leaflet somewhere in the welcome pack, I think. No one ever reads the fine print. You'll likely have to explain this a lot to other first-year students who didn't read it either, Kanaya tells you. You're going to be very sure to never get an overdue book. Kanaya smiles cheerfully at you and goes on to show you how you can scan books in the back, and the two of you sit there and check books in and then arrange them in the right order on the return trolley. She teaches you how to know where in the library books should be stored and how to use the library search function on the computer so you can help people find things. The latter part of your first shift goes relatively normal until you have half an hour before you're due to finish it. Alright, I need to show you the dangerous books section. You'll have to pass some tests before we'll let you near these, but I think you should see them so you just understand how important it is that you don't go near them. Come with me, Kanaya says, and leads you up out of the office. She flips a little sign on the door as she goes, saying that you'll be back shortly. To your surprise, Kanaya takes you first to the staff room that you were shown when you first arrived for the shift. She crouches down and opens up the refrigerator. She takes out a Tupperware box that has something wet-looking in the bottom of it. Without any explanation, she has you follow her back out and out the elevator. A swipe of her badge opens the option for you to be able to go down. We have some staff members who work on book restoration on older texts, and those are stored down here, but you won't be dealing with them. We've also got texts that have been pulled pending review because the information they contain is wrong or wrong to a dangerous degree, either because the texts are outdated or due to misprints. We also have the dangerous books, she explains. The door dings open and you're led into a clean and open space. A tired-looking man sits at a bench in the far corner, hunched over a book with a cotton tip in his hand as he runs it over the page. To the far side of the room are bookshelves filled with books. Do a lot of the books get pulled for that sort of thing? You ask in surprise. Well, after the event, a lot of spells became unstable, and casting them would be unwise, so they've been taken out for safety. We keep them because they can still be read and the knowledge is still worthwhile, but it needs to be put in a safe area with possibly supervision. Some of these books were also damaged in accidents. The faculty can be pretty guilty of that. Kanaya tuts at that last part. I feel sorry for anyone who has come to Kanaya or Miss Paint to tell them that they've damaged a book. Kanaya leads you to a large series of cages at the far end of the room. She swipes her badge and steps inside, closing the door behind her and leaving you on the outside. This is the largest cage here. Books have dangerous subject, or this is the largest cage here. Books that have dangerous subject matter. So either spells that are illegal, such as raising the dead, or spells to cause plagues, that kind of thing. Some are perfectly sensible books, but if misapplied, their knowledge is dangerous. Anything that messes with physics on a large scale is in here, along with anything that messes with the boundaries between planes of reality. Very useful in advanced texts, but we don't let unqualified people near them for obvious reasons, including you unless you pass the right tests, she says, waving a hand at the large cage of books. I feel a little safer knowing that those are locked up, you agree, and Kanaya smiles with your admission. You shudder to think what could happen if someone who didn't know what they were went fucking around with reality. Luckily for everyone, your newly employed ass is here to save the world. Surely everyone feels safer knowing that, huh? These second ones are cursed books, witches or creatures in the past protecting their books by cursing them so no one else could steal their knowledge. Most of them we have counterspells for, but obviously you need to book an appointment for that, and they're in here just so that no one takes them without the right protection in place. Kanaya explains, and then moves on to the third cage with you, following her on the outside of these bars. These are the problem children, Kanaya says, her fingernails drumming on the Tupperware. Your eyes widen as you see something on the shelves move. Some of these books are alive, or at least animated to seem like it. Some are cursed in a way that we can't undo. You do not, under any circumstance, touch any of them. Some of them may try to manipulate you into picking them up, casting a spell of fascination on your mind to compel you. You are not to touch them. I'm serious, Kanaya insists. She opens the cage door and quickly lets herself in, and locks it behind her. Several books on one shelf launch themselves off to get to her, coming only short by the chains going through their covers. Kanaya pops the lid off the Tupperware, cool as you please, and starts throwing chunks of meat at the books, who snap them up with a delighted gnashing of pages. You stare as the page marker runs along the cover edge of one of the books like a person licking their lips. When Kanaya is done feeding the books that seem to need feeding, she takes a clipboard from her bag at her hip and starts to tick things off of it. What are you doing now, you ask? Making sure that the books are all here and none of them have tried to escape or convinced anyone to take them out. In fairness, though, that hasn't happened in the whole time I've been here. People have tried to get them out before. Graduates down here without the proper amount of mental resistance fall victim to it. We found them trying to get through the cage, but they're built to withstand that, she says, and ticks more off. The metal between you gleams, and curiously you run your fingers over one of the rods of the outer cages. It's smooth under your touch, but there's a texture to it that you can feel, although not with your fingers. It's like biting into tinfoil or clinking your teeth with a fork, a sensation where you don't usually feel something, a thrum of power, and you instinctively know that it is protective, that it keeps things out. Your gaze changes to the other bars, and you wonder if those instead focus on keeping things in. Kanaya works her way through the books, and finds them all present and accounted for, thankfully. When she's done with that, she lets herself out, locks up, and takes you back to the main floor. Your shift was entirely training, so you're done now, but you actually have a question for her. Kanaya, my xenobiology class is terrible, so we're doing our own research. If it's not too shitty to ask, would you be able to tell me where I could find a good place to look for accurate information on vampires? I don't want to learn the wrong shit and perpetuate lies or misinformation, but I know it's not your job to educate me on it either, you say. You're reluctant to ask, but she's your best shot. If she tells you she doesn't want to have any part in it, then that's fine, but you'd be remiss not to ask, right? Oh, Kanaya says, and seems to think for a few moments. Well, not all information applies to all vampires, but I can certainly point you in the direction of a few primers. We have a few books that I think are good. One is a historical look at vampires, and the other is a more modern guide. I can also point you to a website that serves as a port of call for new vampires these days, she says. Really? Oh, wow, that'd be so helpful, you tell her eagerly. Kanaya seems touched by your enthusiasm, and so takes you back to the office and looks up the books for you, as well as sends you off with the website written on a slip of paper. You check the books out yourself and return to your dorm. When you open the front door, you're greeted with the sight of Rose, slamming the blender on the countertop. Don't ask, she snaps before you can open your mouth. You hold your hands up in surrender and carefully edge into your room. You're not about to get involved with whatever that was. You have an alchemy class all afternoon, but you're going to hide in here until Rose is finished doing whatever she was doing with the blender. You settle at your laptop and curiously plug in the address that Kanaya gave you. The design of the website is a little dated, but it works just fine. There's a whole bunch of links to the side, but the main body of the page grabs your attention first. If you suspect that you or someone you care about may have become a vampire, we hope this page can answer you questions and clear up any misconceptions. Firstly, vampirism cannot be reversed. A person can become a vampire in one of two ways. The first and most common is to be bitten by another vampire with the intent to convert the bitee, or else repeated bites over time regardless of intent. The second way is through being cursed, though this is very unlikely. Such magic has been lost, and was, in the very distant past, a curse bestowed on mortals by deities or very powerful servants of such. There have been a few cases in modern times, but these have come from people robbing ancient tombs and activating these ancient curses. If you are a vampire, it is most likely that it was because of a bite. Despite the wording, we do not regard vampirism as a curse, merely a different state of being. We are also not dead or undead, and the modern vampire community objects to these terms, although older vampires may have differing opinions. Usually, if you have been made into a vampire, the vampire who made you is responsible for helping you through the transition phase. For various reasons, this does not always happen, so if you suspect that you might be turning into a vampire, we have a checklist of symptoms below. Sensitivity to daylight. Daylight is fatal to vampires. This is usually the first symptom that people find when they become a vampire. Sun exposure will kill you immediately, unless you are very weakened, but extended exposure will eventually kill you. Or will not kill you immediately unless you are very weakened. Okay, I misread that. Some vampires can last hours, some only minutes. Holy symbols and holy water can also cause a lot of harm. Edit. Since the event, holy symbols don't seem to work anymore, but holy water made beforehand still does. So avoid these as well. Growth of fangs. Teeth sharpening or falling out and regrowing is a common sign of vampirism, but can occur for other reasons as well. Lycanthropy, curses, or reactions to certain spells and or ingredients. If this is your only symptom, it would be wise to consider other causes. Pale or luminous appearance. The skin of a vampire often appears paler or ashier than it was before they turned. This is partly responsible for the impression that vampires are dead. In addition, some vampires have a glow to them, more common in vampires whose lineage can be traced back to the Middle East or Asia. Note, this does not refer the human ethnicity of you or the vampire who turned you, rather to where the chain of conversion can be traced back to as a hereditary state. Or as this is a hereditary state. Difficulty entering spaces. Vampires require permission to enter an enclosed indoor space that is privately owned and lived in. A home requires permission, a town hall does not. You don't require permission to enter a home that you live in, and you cannot be evicted out of your own home, but you can be evicted from a home you have not been invited in if the resident of that home performs a specific ritual. Loss of reflection and no longer appearing on film. This can be quite frustrating, as in the modern world, a lot of things rely on photographs. iPhone face recognition won't work, and cameras will not pick you up at all. RID pages have more information on what to do when this happens to you. Difficulty or inability to eat food. Vampires sustain themselves on blood. Some vampires are able to eat raw meat in small quantities. Most are able to drink liquids that aren't blood, but what liquids are acceptable vary from vampire to vampire. Some can drink smoothies or soups, but others can't handle anything outside of water or blood. Individual tolerance vary, and a good indication of yours will be the tolerance of the vampire that bit you. For new vampires adjusting to no longer being able to eat food, some suggest phasing out of it through the ritual of chew and spit, so the ritual and the taste of food is preserved without making you unwell. We suggest this should be a very temporary measure if used at all. An aversion to garlic, not being able to cross running water, compulsion to count things, etc., are all myths. If you didn't have the problems with these before you turned, you'll be fine after. You don't think you've seen Kanaya eat, but you have seen her drink tea. She also mentioned not showing up on film, but you've absolutely seen her exposed to the sunlight. What's with that? You search through the website for a while, but you can't find any more information on sunlight beyond how fatal it is. You instead turn to the introductory book that Kanaya mentioned and skip to the index to search for sunlight. Sunlight imperviousness, page 82. You turn to the right page and start reading. Vampires of ancient legend have reputedly different powers from their more modern brethren, whether this is due to variation in older lineages and a certain kind of genetic drift within vampires, or simply unreliable old records, or records of old stories, is debatable. A lesser-known vampire is a woman known as Dolorosa, who, in roughly 30 to 33 CE, walked uninvited into the home of a Roman official in the middle of the day. Once inside, it is said that she fatally drained or simply killed everyone within the house, save the children who escaped and told the story. The ability to walk around in sunlight and enter a home uninvited may have made many questions whether this woman was a vampire at all, rather that she may have been something else. Alternatively, the story may have been entirely fabricated. We have no way of knowing. Dolorosa then suddenly left the building and was never seen again. Her name crops up a few more times in my research, but there is little definitive proof that it is the same woman. Naturally, though, this woman is notable as the only known instance of a vampire walking in sunlight unharmed. Huh, that's weird. You wonder what else that woman could have been if not a vampire. A species that eats humans, perhaps? Maybe this one just preferred blood. But if that's the case, then how can Kanaya stand the light, and why does nobody question it? To your shame, you wonder about things you've heard in vampire mythology, of them putting people under mental influence. Could Kanaya be hand-waving the question aside so no one thinks it? That's a terrible thing to think of her, even if you can easily see why, if she was for some reason different, she'd want privacy about that. Humans can be not great. Given how much older than you she probably is, she is no doubt familiar with that, so you wouldn't blame her for being cautious about it at all. How do you tell her any of that without making it obvious that you're thinking that kind of thing? If you're going to be supportive, she needs to know what for. Ugh, this is a shit show. Your wrist buzzes, and you take your phone out of its charm to see the alarm for your class going off. You figure the vampire thing is a problem for future Karkat. That poor bastard is left with all your problems. He also invariably fails to solve them when he becomes present Karkat. Man, fuck that guy. He's almost as bad as past Karkat, who's responsible for so much shit. Not to mention past Karkat, who has fucked off out of with your collective memory like some deadbeat dad without so much as a birthday card each year. Wait, you're gonna be late for your class at this rate. Fuck. You walk to class as you try to push thoughts about vampirism out of your mind. When you arrive, you find that some of your friends are already here. You can tell right away that this class is smaller than the others that you've had. Rose's alchemy class are in a different time slot to yours, hence why you walked alone. It also looks like Jade is at a different time because because of your group. There's only Dave, Solux, and June there. Dave casually salutes you because he's apparently too cool for waves in the same way that he's too cool for handshakes. You head over to the large table that they're sat at. The table themselves reminds you of high school chemistry, with the high benches and stools, as well as the technical equipment set on them. You snag the seat next to Dave, grateful that it's still free because it's the last one on the table. You want to make friends, but good lord, talking to strangers? That's just too far. Maybe this is why you have no friends. Sup, dude? Dave greets you as you sit awkwardly on the high stool. Not much, I was just researching vampire stuff before coming here. You? You ask. I, too, was proactively getting on with my assignment to research. Dave hesitates. Werewolves, you remind him. I knew that, he says, blatantly lying. I don't think I deserve too much credit for working ahead or anything. It was that or try to convince Rose to use the Ouija board with me again, you sigh. For your future seeing class or whatevs, how'd that go? Dave asks. You'd got back from your class that night with the boxes safely in your respective bags of holding. Rose had decided that if you were going to try this thing, you might as well do it right away. Rip the bandage off immediately, kind of thing. Absolutely nothing had happened, and Rose had been very smug about how something so useless would never work. You think your odds of getting her to try again are in the negative. Aw, that good, huh? Dave says and sucks in a sharp breath through his teeth. It didn't work. She didn't think it would, but I'm pretty sure she was upset about it all the same, you admit. Sounds about right. I'm already stunned that she took the class in the first place. Admitting that she can't do something she used to be able to do is like admitting she was wrong about something, not something Rose does, Dave tells you. I know it's shitty to feel, I know how shitty it feels to lose your memory. I can't imagine how awful it must feel to lose an ability like that. I mean, I have no shame. I'm going to the class on the faintest hope that I can claw back my memory. Rose seems like someone with more self-respect than me, so I'd get why it'd sting. I just hope I'm not making it worse, you sigh. I think you'll be fine, Dave says mysteriously. No, I don't care what you say. Your opinions are wrong and bad, and I'm not listening, June snaps. What are they? You whisper to Dave as Solux tries to defend his opinion over June loudly, insisting that she's not listening to him. They're arguing about that TV show? Jackass. Trust me, don't get into it, Dave says under his breath. You are thankfully spared from getting into that or hearing about it at all because the teacher comes in and starts getting ready. He asks you all to sign your name at the register on the front, and Solux gets up and says that he'll do it. For all four of us, yeah? Dave reminds him. Solux waves him off with a hand and goes to the front of the class. In the moment of silence, your eyes drift over to the front of the classroom. Your teacher has a frazzled appearance that's very mad scientist in its vibe. and you can only imagine that this classroom has been in use for some years because there's shrines at the front. On either side of the pull-down blackboard, there's a shrine with a sculpture. Instantly, you know what you're looking at is Hermes on one side with the winged staff and a young face. On the other side, Thoth. I think it's Thoth? Is that how you say it? Thoth? Thought? It's not thought, right? It's not thought. Thoth. The Egyptian deity. That would probably be disrespectful for me to call him Thought. On the other side is Thoth, the Egyptian deity. You don't even know how you know that, but you do. The knowledge was just buried somewhere in your mind. Your teacher starts into a lecture that covers the beginning of alchemy through history, then sidetracks into a tangent about the humor system in ancient medicine. Finally, finishing on him stopping for several minutes to write a note to himself on a notebook in his jacket. When he looks up from that, he seems surprised that you're all still there, and you're starting to suspect that he isn't all there. Anyway, the best way to learn alchemy is by doing it. Experimentation, that's the way. I have a task here. Where did I... The teacher flounders for a moment before finding a stack of papers right in the middle of the desk, cleverly hidden, it seems. He goes around the room pairing people up at the benches and handing them a sheet of paper instructions. You're caught by surprise when he pairs you and Dave, and then Solix and June together. Solix seems minorly put out at not getting to work with Dave, but seems distracted enough when June starts asking him what the hell some of these things are. Excuse me. It'd be helpful if any of these instructions told you what any of this stuff is called, Dave notes, seemingly having the same problem. We had a textbook, right? That's got to explain some things, you suggest, and stick your hand in your bag. You mentally call for the item and feel the spine of it smack into your palm. You draw the book out and ditch your bag on the floor. It better, shit's expensive, Dave snorts. The book is, thankfully, reasonably helpful, and after 5 minutes you've named all the stuff you've been given and start on the instructions proper. Okay, first weigh out 20 grams of carbon into the glass petri dish. You read. Why the fuck are we even using the metric system? We didn't win a war against the British to use the metric system now, Dave rambles as he starts tapping the carbon powder into the petri dish anyways. Pretty sure that's not how it went, you point out. So educate me, Mr. Teacher, Dave retorts. I'm not your teacher, you tell him. Is that... You said 20 grams, right? Does that look right? Dave asks in what you feel is an aside to your super dumb conversation. You tip your head sideways to eyeball the scale. Yeah, that looks right, you say, and look down at your list for the next steps. Anyways, you're totally teachery. Look at you going through the instructions trying to learn me a thing. Dave says, and you flicker a smile, and you catch a flicker of a smile in your peripheral. See, it's sentences like that and comments about the war against Britain which makes me doubt June's words that you went to school, or else I'm starting to doubt the quality of schools in the state of New York, you say, and waggle the end of your pen in his face in a disapproving manner. Look at you, gearing up to give me a lecture. I bet you do. Actually, go on and on for ages trying to school people on things. I get that vibe from you, you know, Dave says, and there and again, that flicker of amusement. You're entirely accurate, but baseless assumptions on my personality are going to hurt my feelings, Dave, you say bluntly, and this actually does make Dave laugh. He leans forward with the force of his sudden amusement, his shoulders shaking as he snickers. Damn, dude, you can't go being funny like that out of nowhere. You'll take someone out that way, Dave says when he recovers. That'll teach you to be unprepared then, won't it? You retort. See, you're doing it again, Dave teases you, and now it's you who's trying not to laugh out loud in class. Shut up, shitface. Put the charcoal in the magic circle thing, you order him. The carbon in the alchemic transmutation circle, you mean? Dave asks, so you elbow him. Despite the back and forth bantering, you and Dave get everything weighed and set in the right path of the circle. You connect the circle to a light bulb. You note that on the other side of your table, the less productive work is going on. June is touching the prongs on the end of the bulb to the forked tips of Solix's tongue, making it light up and sending the pair into obnoxious laughter. So, what's the balloon for? Dave asks finally, stretching the uninflated red balloon on the table. You frown and reread the instruction. Dave leans over, his shoulder brushing yours as he reads too. I'm an idiot, you mutter. Hey, you said it, not me, Dave says wryly and grabs the flask that you'd missed on the instructions. He makes a funnel with the paper and pours the carbon into it, and then secures the balloon on the top so it's covering it. Alright, so we're converting carbon to helium, right? Straight atomic conversion, so that's why we've got the balloon, yeah? So we don't lose any. Plus, we're gonna have 3 times as much of the stuff, and it'll be bigger because it's a gas at this temperature, so yeah. Dave nods. You look from him to the instructions and back again. What? How do you... The test at the end is to work out what you've changed into on this, or based on this. How do you know the answer when we've not done it yet? You ask him incredulously. If I was teaching this class, I'd want to give the students some material they can't hurt themselves with as a first go. Noble gases don't react to shit. Also, we have carbon. It's got an atomic weight of 6, and helium is 2. 6 is 3 times bigger than 2, man. I think the light bulb is only there to catch extra energy in case we fuck it up, Dave explains. You look down at the table of elements that was included with your instructions and see that he's right. You don't know if he looked or if he just knew that, but you're quickly adjusting your ideas about how sharp Dave is. Just because he talks like a dumbass doesn't mean he is one. Now who's schooling who, you finally say. The student hath surpassed the teacher, Dave says solemnly and bows a little in his chair. You're so full of shit, you tell him, and with a sigh, and Dave shrugs like he can't do anything about that. Do you think we could alchemically transform you into something less annoying? You tease him. Oh, I doubt that. If there was a magical way to do that, Rose would have found it by now. One summer, I annoyed her so much she literally threw me down a waterfall, Dave informs you. She did! June laughs loudly, having caught that part of the conversation. Why are we talking about Rose's venture into fratricide? Solux asks curiously. Again, he's mysteriously non-hostile all of a sudden. You don't get it. Dave tells them not to worry about it, so the two of you get back on track with your work. You paint in the last few missing symbols in a way that reminds you of the blank spaces in the teleportation circle. You're just putting in the specific details to this experiment. The symbol for carbon, the instruction to split it by thirds. As you close the last line, the alchemic magic catches. With a flare of glittering light, the balloon suddenly inflates, and the carbon dust at the bottom of the flask vanishes. Holy shit, you whisper in awe. Before you can stop him, Dave pinches the bottom of the balloon and pulls it off the flask. He turns to you and sucks in a huge breath of it. Dude, Dave, what the fuck? What if that's chlorine gas or something? You hiss. How would I do this? I told you you'd be fine, Car. I told you you'd be fine, Car Cat, Dave says in a squeaky high voice. It's helium, he was right. You bastard, you're gonna give me a heart attack or something, you wheeze, leaning over on the desk. There, Car Cat, I told you it'd be helium. Dave comforts you as his voice starts to drop back down to normal. No, fuck you, I'm on team throw Dave down a waterfall now, you groan into the table. The class winds down and your teacher gives you some instructions on what to read before the next class, but it's not super clear. Either way, your group wanders back towards the dorm, and you happen to run into Rose on her way out the building as you pass your way in. Solux, could you do something for me? I'm going to be late, but my TV is broken. Could you fix it for me, please? Rose asks as she slips past your group. What's wrong with it? Solux asks. It doesn't work. Gotta go, thanks. Rose calls over her shoulder and rushes off. Solux stares at her, his mouth slightly open and one eye twitching a little. Good luck with that, June laughs and claps on his shoulder. Dave seems to find this equally entertaining as the two of them walk into the building together, laughing. When you look at him again, Solux is silently watching you. What? You ask him bluntly. You're the one with the key to that room, he says. Can you teleport? You say as you go into the building anyway. He's right behind you as you walk. Can't you run? Why aren't you running there now if that's a thing you can do? Solux retorts. Okay, fair. Maybe it takes more energy. Alright, you made your point. You mutter and head up to the stairs with Solux silently trailing you. He follows you all the way to your dorm room and steps in behind when you unlock the door. The TV appears to be off, so you leave Solux to it as he wanders over there. Excuse me. Your eyes fall on the Ouija board box by your dining table, and you figure that you should give it another go. Trying to use it without Rose here sounds like the best idea, and this room has a lot more floor space than your room. Are you going to be making a lot of noise in here? You ask Solux as he flicks through the TV channels. I can probably rule out the speakers are the problem pretty quickly, and then I can be quiet if I have to. Why? He asks, looking over you. I've got homework to do. Gonna do it out here. Or doing it out here would be easier, you say and gesture to the box. Solux cranes his neck to see around you, and then bounds up onto the arm of the sofa on his knees to look over you and stare at the box. Abruptly, he bursts out laughing and falls back on the cushions. What? You demand. Are you shitting me? Your class about seeing the beyond is giving you Hasbro toys to do it? Aw, man, that's priceless. Please do it in here. I want to see that. I'll be super quiet while you play your little game. I promise. Solux giggles. You're the fucking worst. You accuse him and stalk off the table. In the time it takes Solux to stop giggling at you and get back to fixing Rose's TV, you're able to set up the Ouija board up and prop your phone back up at an angle that it'll record the ground where the Ouija board is. That way, you can use the footage or parts of it in your report this week, and you won't have to stop what you're doing to take notes. You take a deep breath and try to concentrate. As far as you can tell, there's nothing special with the board itself. Solux's amusement is at least warranted there. What it is, though, is a visible method for spirits to communicate with you. A written down answer to questions right there in black and white. The thing that's doing the psychic work of calling in a spirit is you, not the board. If there are any spirits, you are slightly derailed by a snort from Solux, who have anything to say. I'm listening. You finish saying that last part with a little more firmly and hope you didn't scare anything off. You really want someone to answer you, someone to hear you and reach back to you. When your teacher handed out the board, she gave the advice about how to use them, and one of the things she told you all, aside from being careful about who you contacted, was that some questions spirits can answer, like what happened in the event. Like June said, you're not the first person to try. But if all that happens is you get no answer, then you're going to be no worse off than you are for not asking, are you? The plea thrums inside you. You want someone to tell you something. You can't stand being caged in your own ignorance. Beneath your fingers, the planchette moves. Karkat. I'm just going to read out the word, actually, for those. Holy shit, that's my name. Is someone there? You gasp. What the? Solux says from behind, and you hear him move. Yes. You stare at the planchette over the word on the top left of the board. This is really happening. Okay, you try to work out what's going on here. Ask smart questions. Are you dead? The planchette drifts over to the word no. Are you some kind of spirit? You try. Nothing happens. Did you lose them? Curiously, you nudge the planchette away, and without you touching it, it drifts back to no again. Not a spirit, then. Your fingers touch the plastic and it moves again, leaving you to watch the letters as it moves quickly. Where are you? I'm at my dorm you start. Karkat, you should stop talking now, Solux says. He's perched on the edge of the sofa armrest like a gargoyle with his eyes all wide open and staring at the Ouija board. Why? You said it was just a toy, and I want answers that you can't or won't give me, you tell him snidely. I'm serious, Karkat, Solux warns you. Tell me what I am. I don't remember. To the board. Tell me what I am. I don't remember, you say to the board. The planchette drags left, and then abruptly pings out of your hand. It hits a wall and bounces to the floor. Oh God, you yelp and ignore the hiss behind you. I told you, now drop it, Solux tells you. You're about to tell him to drop dead when you see the movement out of the corner of your eye, the plastic planchette dragging itself back towards you. Solux sees it too, and clearly doesn't like it one bit. Tell that thing to stop trying to talk to you, he barks at you. No way. The planchette reaches the board and slides towards the letters. Find you. That's a little creepy. You're not even touching the thing at this point. Why do you want to find me, you whisper. Fix this. Over my dead body, Solux snarls in a truly inhuman way. Yes. You don't like this anymore. Karkat, you are... The planchette smokes and then melts into a puddle. The edges of the board curl up and a strong hand drags you away by the back of your shirt just as the whole thing goes up in flames. Yellow flames at least 4 foot high with the center that somehow glows black. What the fuck? You yelp in fear and jump onto the sofa. Fucking, I told you, Solux accuses you. You need to put that fire out. You need to do that right the fuck now. You grab Rose's knitted throw off the sofa and eye the blaze. Don't bother, this is hellfire. You can't smother that with a blanket, Solux says as your carpet catches alight. Can't you put it out? You're a demon, you yell, your voice bouncing off the walls. Solux winces slightly at your volume. I mean, I can, but in the time it'd take me to properly put it out, half of Salem would be a charred wasteland, Solux snaps. A few lames lick harmlessly over his skin, but it's definitely not harmless to you or anyone else in this building. You stare hopelessly at the flame that are definitely starting to spread. There's always another option. Just go boil some water. I'll be right back, Solux says. He holds out his hand and a blue and red flickering circle appears on the floor around him. And the fire, then, like something out of a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon, he plummets down through what is now a hole. Terrified, you lean closer and see it's a black circle. Infinitely black, but completely flat. Your eyes don't like it and you feel sick to look at it. Water. Solux asks for water. You fling the blanket over the sofa and spring to the kitchen. Rose has an enchanted jug that boils water almost instantly, so you fill it completely and set it going. A sudden rush of air grabs your attention and you see that Solux is back, only his skin is pale, and his hair is filled with ice. He shudders visibly, his arms curled around himself. At once you understand the need for hot water. Next to you the jug chimes and you snatch it and sprint to him. He holds his hands out and you go to hand it to him, but Solux shakes his head, scattering ice crystals to the floor. Pour, he stammers out through chattering teeth. Pour boiling water onto his hands? Well, he is fireproof, right? Hesitantly, you tip the jug, and the boiling water runs over his outstretched hands. Solix flicks his fingers under the water for a moment or two, and then takes the jug from your hands. He tips his head back, pouring boiling water right onto his face and down his chest. It makes you jerk towards him to save him, but your impulse is stupid. He's fine, visibly getting better with the heat, in fact. When he's out of water, you take the jug from him, fill it once more, and set it going. You cut past him to the bathroom and lean in far enough to grab a towel and come back. Silently, you wrap it around his shoulders and look at him. Part of his clothing still looks almost freezer-burned, stiff and covered in frost. I'm guessing you can't tell me where you went, you say quietly. Mm-hmm. Solix affirms with a slightly shuddery sound. If I guessed right, could you tell me, you ask? Solix stays silent, just watching you and trembling slightly. Because if I had to put hellfire somewhere, I would say putting it back where it belongs would make sense. I'd also assume that there's something wrong with hell based on the fact that Earth is suddenly filled with demons since the event. If you just ditch the fire in space, you could tell me that, and I don't think space is actually cold enough to get you to look like that after a few seconds. I think sci-fi blows that out of proportion. Has hell frozen over? You ask. I can fix your floor. Board's gone, though. Your eyes shift to the floor, which... Oh, wow. Yeah, that's destroyed. Still, that wasn't an answer, so you can only assume he can't really say. You also don't think that he set the board on fire, given that it put him out this much. Rose's water jug chimes again, so you leave Solux and this time grab a mug from the mismatched pile. You feel weird just giving him boiling water to drink, so you let your hands make coffee as your mind churns. You were just thinking aloud back there. Maybe you're completely off base, but there's always been speculation about why all the demons came to Earth on the very day of the event. Naturally, a lot of people blame them for it, but given that a lot of them seem to have been at a loss like the rest of you, that doesn't totally feel right. They didn't come from Earth, and if the connection or whatever the gods affected all of you, then who's to say what it did to their plane of existence, to hell? The expression when hell freezes over is one thing, but for it to actually happen... You have to be right, though, don't you? Why would all the demons stay up here unless there was nowhere suitable for them to go back to? You think Solix is probably pretty tough, but you doubt he could live long in wherever he just came from. Wherever he just came from is likely hell, because that's where hellfire belongs. You can't imagine him just throwing your hellfire-covered Ouija board on some glacier somewhere out and calling it a day. Again, he wasn't gone for long, and you're pretty sure that kind of immediate deep freeze doesn't happen that fast on Earth. You've seen the Titanic, that shit takes time. So you're right, aren't you? You drop the small spoon you'd been using to stir coffee into the sink and turn around with the mug. Solix has abandoned the towel and is somehow now in different clothes. You watch as he drapes Rose's blanket over his head and wraps it tight around himself. His horns are poking through the knit in the blanket, and it's all you can do not to laugh at him. His tails are still shuddering slightly, and he looks around when you come closer. Boiling hot. I'd say be careful, but you shrug and hand him the mug. He doesn't drink it right away, just curls his hands around it. You're being nice to me. He says it like an accusation, and your mind loops around to his thing with pity. Like Kanaya said, perhaps you trying to be nice reads as dismissive and condescending to him. From what you said, you just saved me from setting half of Salem on fire, and who knows how many people. I think I can stretch to giving you a towel and some hot bean water, you snort. And he huffs this little sound out that could be a laugh, but is very deniable. Ugh, what just happened, you moan, and drop onto the sofa. You tip your head back and cover your face with your hands. Don't do that again, Solix advises. You feel the sofa shift, but you don't look over. Oh, and you're always right, are you? You say flatly. Glad you're catching on, he says, as smug as he can be. Like if you were right when you told me it wouldn't do anything? You ask sweetly and look at him. Solix scowls at you and drinks his coffee instead of answering. You see the way his irritation drops off in favor of shock. He stares at the mug in silence, having taken only one sip from it. Shit, I wasn't really paying attention when I made it. I was thinking about all that ice. I didn't put, like, rat poison in it or something, did I? I don't even know if we have that. Probably not, but you say worriedly. No, it's... Solix swallows as he seems to shake it off. It's fine. I'm just warming up back is all. You're obviously lying, you say after a moment, but he just stares back at you over his mug and keeps drinking. Sorry. Didn't you read the Xenobio notes on the demons that we stole? The test answers. I'm a demon. We're full of lies, Solix says simply. You're full of shit, more like, you snap, and he grins at you like he's won something. You cover your face with your hands and resist the temptation to scream. If you were alone, you might indulge yourself in this soundproof room, but you're not. You're infuriating. You know that? I don't know what I did to piss you off before everyone else seems to get along with you fine, and I've been trying to get on with you better, but you're just so... I don't know what I'm doing. It has to be me, right? You're clearly a shit to other people, and I know I'm no... you're clearly a shit to other people, and I know I'm no saint, but they like you, and you still like them, but me? You're sounding hysterical now, and it's not helped by the smug expression on Solux's face. He sets the mug down on the table and runs his split tongue over his lip, chasing some hint of coffee. You done yelling? He asks meanly, and there's a flash of fang with it that just irks you. You haven't heard me really yell, or fuck, maybe you have. You refuse to tell me anything, like how we know each other or what that was like, you accuse him. What do you want to know, or what do you want me to tell you, KK? He laughs. You think he's laughing at you. The truth, you say flatly. Nah, it sounds like you want me to say something else. He grins at you. Go on, since you so obviously have something to say, you grit out. Solux leans, his hand on the sofa between you two. He gets close to you, but you're not backing down here. Something like, you want me to say that we were the very best friends before you forgot everything. That we spent ages together, skipping through fields of flowers or some shit like that. Or spent ages watching your stupid romance movies that you only like because they always have a happy ending, and you're the kind of dumbass that believes in that shit. Solux says, and at that, you do flinch back. Solux only smiles wider at that. When really, I hate you more than you hate me and yourself combined. We both know how much you hate you, so that should give you an idea at least. There's no point acting like I don't know all the shit you hate about yourself, or the extra things that I really think you should add to that list, is there? What are you going to do? Keep trying to help me, like you do with other people, to try to make them like you? Solux says with a laugh. His words slice right through you. He might as well have reached in with his hand and grabbed hold of every insecurity you have and shoved them right in your face. Maybe ripped out your heart while he was at it too. He's watching you with a touch of eagerness on his face, like he can't wait to see what the things he said did to you. Well, you're not going to give him that satisfaction. You get up from the sofa and march past the burnt wreck of a circle on your floor and wrench open your bedroom door. Where are you going? Solux snorts. Go away, you hiss and step inside, slamming the door after you. You snag the pillow from your bed and lean your body against the door, sliding down onto the floor. You open the door inwards so your face is smushed in your pillow and your body weight holding against the door. That should at least slow him down if he tries to get in. Then, even if he cracks the door, any sound you might make is muffled already. Your breath hitches at being so painfully called out. You just want people to like you. You want to be not so alone. You hate not knowing what you are. You hated being isolated in that building of other people who remembered nothing but disliked you. You want to belong. You want to be happy. And yeah, you want a happy ending. Just like those movies you like. But maybe that's a pipe dream. Why would anyone like you? Solux doesn't try to come in, and after some time you crawl into bed, only coming up for air when Rose comes to your door later. Carcat? She whispers into the darkness of your room. Go away, you say thickly through your pillow. Is everything all right? Are you sick? She asks. You shake your head. You didn't come to dinner. I brought leftovers, she adds. You say nothing, and so, after a few silent moments, Rose closes your door again and leaves you be. You spend the night nursing your ripped-up feelings and sense of self, but by the time the morning comes around, you decide that you can't avoid him forever. More than that, you're not going to derail your life because of that guy. Fuck him. If he doesn't get to be that important. Now at least you know what he's really like. Just how well did he know you to be able to hurt you that badly? Or else, how is he so good at knowing just where to attack? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You open your bedroom door with a heavy heart and see Rose sitting on the sofa, jabbing at the remote. She looks around when you enter. Oh, Carcat, did Solux actually come by to fix this yesterday? It's still not working, Rose says and clicks uselessly at the TV with the remote. Yeah, he did, you mumble. The floor is fixed. There's not so much as a mark on the carpet. No proof that your thing with the Ouija board catching fire even happened. Your eyes drift to your phone, still propped up from the recording. When you grab it, the thing is predictably out of battery because you left it running. Great. He didn't fix it then, Rose says. You put your dead phone away. You'll charge it later. You duck into the bathroom to brush your teeth and what have you. You note that your reflection looks somewhat between miserable and pissed off. Are you alright? You seem upset? Rose guesses when you emerge again. I've got to go to class. You mumble and leave your dorm room. It's not a lie. You do have to go to class. You'll just be a little early, which, given that it's alchemy and you're going to go and share it with Solux, you're not looking forward to that. You sit down on the floor in the hallway outside the classroom and wait. The door is still locked, but you're the first person to enter when your scatterbrained teacher comes in and opens it up. Despite your best efforts, you know the way you feel is painted plainly on your face, which means that when Solux walks in, he's going to get all the satisfaction of seeing how much he got to you. Of course, thinking that makes it so that you feel worse and therefore look worse. By the time you catch the faint strains of Dave's voice outside, you're pretty sure you just look awful. Point is that if you have to change its shape to the point where it can't perform its function before you attack someone with it, you've entirely fucked with the premise of the question. Therefore, you're completely wrong, Dave argues. It still functions as a gong, even if you sharpen the edges, June insists as she rounds the doorframe with him. You hold your breath, waiting for Solix to appear, but he doesn't. No way. If you change the dimensions of a brass instrument like that, there's no way it makes the same note. Also, I don't think you could throw that at a speed to take someone's head off, Dave counters. It's a gong, dude. It's not like someone tunes them, June groans and hops into her seat. No, look, Carcat, settle this for us. What's the most deadly musical instrument to attack someone with, using only your bare hands? So we've ruled out dropping a pipe organ on someone or whatever. You have to actually do it yourself. June says sharpening a gong and using it like a throwing star. Dave starts to explain as he takes his seat by you. Oh, or that circle thing Xena had on the TV, June pipes up. Yeah, okay, but I maintain my point. That screws with the instrument integrity. I say you can way more easily beat someone to death with a tuba without having to modify the tuba first, Dave reasons. What? You say flatly. Most deadly instruments without modifying the instrument, go, Dave says. Your mind reels for a moment. What are they called? Castanets? Cram them down someone's throat and choke them. Why are we having this conversation? You say in utter bewilderment. Ooh, that's an idea, June says approvingly. IDK, man, just one of those conversations. Hey, do you remember the name of that guy in school? The one who passed out in marching band and took 2 people down with him? Dave asks, and the conversation shifts to June and Dave, trying to recall a name. Given that you're no help to this conversation, you end up looking at the door again. You half expect Solux to walk through any second, but then again he could just show up behind you in a puff of smoke and upsettingly accurate takedowns. Despite the detour into confusion, your mood remains low. You okay, man? Dave asks, nudging you in the arm with his elbow. Don't worry about it. You mumble and idly scribble a zigzag around the edge of your notebook. Something in the water today? First Solux, now you, Dave wonders. What? You ask and look around. He was all weird yesterday, and today he's all mopey and odd. That's why he's ditching, legitimately sick. Dave looks around. Excuse me again. Dave looks around, but your teacher is up at the front, focused on copying something onto the board, and hasn't heard Dave at all. What does Solix have to be sad about? He's the one who hurt you. I don't want to talk about it, you grumble. Dave and June share a look. It is a look with significance and weight, and you absolutely hate it. Did something happen? He was meant to be fixing Rose's TV at yours, right? Dave asks. He can be kind of an ass sometimes, but he's a good guy, June tells you with a sympathetic smile. No, he's an asshole, and I hate him. Actually, I probably have it recorded, you say triumphantly and pull your phone out. Your dead phone. I've got a battery. Looks like the same charger, too. Gimme. Dave offers and tugs the novelty portable battery out of his bag. He plugs it into your phone and sets it on the edge of the desk to charge. Your teacher chooses that moment to turn around and start disjointingly ramble about alchemy. This class, you'll be responsible for drawing your own alchemic circles together and trying the previous experiment again. All being well, you'll convert carbon into helium all over again. Secure in the knowledge that for whatever reason Solix isn't going to show up to settle into the work with Dave, it turns out Dave is pretty good at chemistry and can draw a neat circle. You're both pretty bad at and can draw a very neat circle. You're both pretty bad at accurately drawing alchemical symbols. You manage to blow your light bulb out once, entirely failing to do anything good the second time, and then accidentally fail to specify the subject of your transmutation and change all the air in a column above your circle into hydrogen. Hydrogen that then connects to a spark from your battery charger and shoots a ball of flame up to the roof. Your teacher wisely calls the end of class. Thanks for the charger and or pilot light to that disaster. You sigh and disconnect your phone from the battery. Thankfully, neither were damaged in the blaze, and your phone now has a bit of juice. Hey, you like coffee, right? Dave asks as you hand him his charger back. I'm a student, you tell him flatly. Okay, fair point, that's a yes. Do you like free coffee? Dave clarifies. Student. You repeat. Well, come on then. Dave says with a shake of his head and walks off. What? Wait. Is Dave offering to buy you coffee? You hurry after him as he navigates you both out the building. You can't help but notice that June didn't come with either. As you step out into the sunlight, Dave adjusts his glasses and turns his head slightly your way. It's the closest thing you have to telling that he's looking at you. So, why don't you tell me what he did? Dave suggests. Didn't he tell you anything? Or I suppose it wasn't that big of a deal for him, you say bitterly. Solix is... Dave seems to search for the right word as you two walk. The thing with him is that I trust him. He's always got my back, and as far as I'm concerned, he's a good person. I don't know everything about him or everything he does. Sometimes I don't know why he does things, and sometimes he's all mysterious and shit, but the guy's never given me a reason to doubt him, Dave explains. He's leading you towards that coffee shop you went by on your first day here. But he didn't tell me anything at all. He was just acting weird, you know? Sometimes you just get that vibe about when not to push someone, you know? Dave shrugs. Thanks, that makes me feel like shit, Dave, you say with a faux brightness and cheer. Dave looks at you with enough surprise that his white blonde eyebrows fully clear his stupid sunglasses. This guy that everyone seems to think is cool and chill hates me, and all anyone says about it is that he's super great, and this isn't like him. So obviously I'm the problem, you say loudly. Not loudly for you, but for normal people. You shove the door to the coffee place open and startle a girl by the door. That is not a thing I said. Why don't you chill out? I'll get you a coffee. Not sure you need to be more amped up, but we are here, and that's what we're doing. What do you want? Dave asks, voice flat and unfazed by your drama. It makes you feel kind of stupid, so you let him guide you to a table with all those stupid tall stools, like you weren't just sitting in like you weren't just sitting like this in alchemy class. I don't know, something strong and pretentious. You shrug. There's a flicker of a smile on Dave's face, but he nods all the same and walks to the counter. Left alone, the previous day starts bubbling in your mind, like some horrible gristle in some cheap stew, just floating to the surface, resplendent in its disgustingness. You manage to do something actually supernatural, to the surprise of a demon, though the thing you contacted may have been trying to threaten you, which is deeply unsettling. Then there's all that stuff with Solux. Here's your most pretentious of coffees, a specialty home-roasted blend of fancy foreign coffee beans, frapped together with organic caramel and a fair trade dusting of ground macadamia nuts, served, of course, in a mason jar. Dave says with obvious delight. That is an abomination, thanks. I feel like I need a philosophy book to drink this, you tell him. See, I feel like a non-frap coffee would be more pretentious, but they don't serve those in mason jars, so I was really torn, you know. Dave sighs and sits down. Understandable, you agree. So, tell me what happened. Dave prompts and your heart sinks, that small amount of levity you had fizzling out. I don't know that I should, you mumble, resting your chin in your palm, turning your head to look out the window. Why? He asks. He's your best friend, right? I don't want to mess that up, you tell him. Trust me, man, we'll be fine. You said you recorded it. What's with that? Dave asks and sips the coffee. I wasn't trying to. I don't even know if it worked. I was just trying to record me using the Ouija board for class with Rose. I was doing it on my own, so it was easier than taking notes. I just left the thing running. Let me see if it saved it when my phone died. You explain and flick through your phone. Yeah, the video ran on a good way after everything, but he can watch it. You start going and hand it to Dave. He gets to watch the whole Ouija board experience and listen to you helping Frozen Solix afterwards. You drink your coffee, which is actually distressingly nice despite how pretentious it is. Dude just poured boiling water on his face. Okay, Solix. Dave snorts. The video rolls on, and even over the noise of the coffee shop mudding the sounds, you can tell when Dave is at the point that Solix is saying the things that he did. His expression shifts into a grimace, and you hear the slam of your door. You drink your coffee miserably, the frosted coffee making an obnoxious noise as you get to the bottom of the mason jar. Here, I rewound it. Look, Dave says and hands you your phone back. You take it and hit play. You see your feet just clip the camera frame and the slam of your bedroom door. There's another sound after, like someone landing on the floor, and Solix's mismatched socks come into frame. Carcat? He calls softly. He hesitates in frame, his foot lifting off the floor and settling back down as he considers, but decides against going to your door. Shit, he hisses to himself, his tail snapped irritably side to side in and out of frame. He takes a step back and his foot hits the edge of the destroyed circle of your floor, and he jerks back from it. Solix crouches down and runs his fingers over the ruined patch on your floor. He mumbles something under his breath, and with a flare of bicolored magic, your floor magically repairs itself. You can see his face as he glances towards your door once more. He looks genuinely put out. There's a puff of blue and red smoke, and then he's gone. After that, your phone just films the floor. I don't know how he knows you, but it's probably pretty hard to balance a relationship where one of you remembers it and one of you doesn't. I don't know why he'd say that shit either, but I'm pretty sure that your totally legit reaction to it wasn't what he was going for. I don't get it, but I don't think that's what he wanted, Dave tells you gently. Sure, maybe you're right, but it doesn't make me want to talk to the guy. It doesn't tell me what it is about me that makes him act like that just to me. If I'd done something, he could at least tell me so I know why I deserve that, you argue. Maybe he can't tell you, Dave points out. You're starting to get the feeling that Dave would defend Solix against anything. Look, he's your friend, and I'm not about to make shit difficult by refusing to be around him. But the idea that he didn't really mean it might be sorry isn't going to mean shit to me if he doesn't do anything to show me that. You seem nice. June seems cool. I like Rose and Jade. I'm not going to cause drama, but that's just... You trail off. It's unacceptable. You might hate yourself, but you don't hate yourself so much that you're going to keep letting someone treat you like this without a damn good explanation or some proof that he's actually sorry. What I'm getting from this is that somehow you don't think I'm cool, Dave says after a moment. You missed the point and yet somehow said a true thing, you snort. I'm wounded, Dave says flatly. You shake your head and Dave sighs. I'm sorry this happened at least. It's not alright, but I get what you mean and I don't blame you or anything, Dave nods. You relax slightly at this seemingly isn't going to end your potential friendship with Dave. And hey, we could do this again sometime, or some other time when my best friend hasn't been shitty to you. We could find out the dumbest things on the menu, Dave laughs slightly. It's an offer, an olive branch of sorts. That'd be cool. Hopefully next time I'll be in better company and not messed up about this whole situation, you agree, waving vaguely at your phone. Yeah, man. Anyway, I've been thinking about your comment before vis-a-vis the earlier most deadly instrument debate, and I had some thoughts, Dave begins. Despite everything, you feel yourself grinning as Dave attempts to remake his case for the tuba being the most dangerous instrument. It's fun. You spend a while with him bullshitting back and forth about this entirely nonsense debate. When you get back to your room, the TV is mysteriously working again, and Rose is watching you with open curiosity. You wonder if Solix told her something or not. You'd assume not, given how she seems to be trying to divine whatever happened from something as insignificant as what you chose to get from the fridge to eat. Since our place is silenced and therefore a good study location, I'm sure you don't mind that I invited everyone over later for our group xenobiology study. I have Selkies this week, if you remember. I feel so bad for Karkat with this because Solix repeatedly acts like an asshole to him for no perceivable reason. Anytime he tries to figure it out, he gets blocked by magic. Like, give this guy a break. Yeah. Poor guy. Poor guy. Poor lad. You stare at the milk in the fridge and contemplate having to be around Solix again. You don't entirely have faith in the accuracy of Dave's feelings on Solix, or, well, you believe that Dave does indeed like and trust him that much and have faith that his friend isn't really an asshole. You just don't think that Dave's idea of Solix is entirely accurate. That said, you're not going to avoid him. Maybe what you saw on your phone was right, and he doesn't really mean to hurt you that badly. Either way, you're not going to be a baby about this. Sure, you say into the fridge and pull the little door to the freezer part open so you can grab some ice and throw it in the glass. You're okay with that? Rose prods. I'm up for learning about Selkies, you say instead of answering the question that she really means. Rose is watching you like a hawk, but you pretend not to find that odd and instead retreat to your room to study your alchemy textbook. So you don't, cause a giant fireball again. You carefully draw out a practice circle on the larger notebook, or on the larger note paper, and make sure not to close it, but fill it all out with details, and you're pretty sure you've cracked the problem. With your door ajar, you hear the front door open. No one knocked. Whoever it was just let themselves in. He's not coming, and I asked Sol if he was coming. He said no, and then said, look over there, and teleported away, so that's great. Dave's voice drifts over to you, so you grab your paper and get up. It seems like Solix is definitely avoiding you. Well, good. That makes your life easier. Hey, you say, and stick your head out your room. Dave looks over at you, his body language plainly frustrated, but his expression cool. Hey man, Dave nods. I think I worked out where we fucked up with that alchemy, you tell him and hold up your sheet of paper. You telling me the fireball wasn't the ideal outcome? That's news to me, Dave says. You started a fire in your alchemy class. Really? Rose says with a disapproving tut. Oh, shut it, Dave retorts and walks past you to get to her. Or walks past her to get to you. See, I think this is where we went wrong, you tell him and point to the right part in the inscription. Isn't that what we did before? That's what I meant to put at least, Dave muses. I'm pretty sure we didn't do that, you tell him. Aw, look at you, shouldering collective blame instead of blaming me, who just admitted to probably writing the thing wrong, Dave says teasingly. Shut up, I'd rather work this out now instead of a week or two when we're doing plastics and other thing derived from oil that'll cause a way bigger problem if they catch fire, you tell him. Anyone would think you don't like fire, Dave fake gasps. All the same, your mind flickers back to that incident with the hellfire. You think Dave does too because he drops that line of bullshit immediately. The door to your dorm opens up again, and June and Jade walk in. What about a harp? Couldn't you slice someone with that? Slice someone with pieces to that? With someone 2 pieces with that? Jade asks, and you groan. How long is this stupid debate still going? No. Each string would mitigate the pressure. It wouldn't do anything. Dave responds immediately. Don't ask. Just let's talk about selkies. You hurriedly say to Rose, who's looking over with both confusion and curiosity. You and Rose, being people who haven't covered their tables and plants or electronic equipment, are able to seat everyone down so you all have somewhere to sit and write as Rose begins to tell you all about selkies. There are some things on the original course that were correct, but there are also plenty of other information that Rose found. Selkies are shapeshifters, specifically from the form of seal to human. Unlike most shapeshifters, however, they shift by shedding their seal skin and can only shift back if they still possess that skin. Originally hailing from northern Europe, with the advent of wider sea travel, they have since spread, and there are colonies of selkies living coastally in many countries across the Americas and Europe. Of course, descendants mixed with humans can live wherever they please, but Rose notes that the census data puts them pretty coastal as well. There is an unfortunate history with humans stealing the skins of selkies and essentially imprisoning them in their human forms, often taking them of a forced marriage. The very notion of that makes you cringe. Now, of course, it's regarded as kidnapping, and if found guilty the U.S. government will extradite perpetrators over the Selkie colony for their own justice to be awarded, Rose explains. I'm going to guess that's being drowned or mauled to death by selkies, Dave guesses. Pretty much, Rose nods. Needless to say, jokes about their coats or keeping them on land are in really poor taste, I guess, you ask. Pretty much. To his credit, our teacher did give a few legal cases where people had been taken to court for that. Given how adept selkies are at sea as a magical language, they're in pretty high demand in some fields that ask for that so employment law came up a lot. Rose explains. Anything people use to think that isn't true? June asks curiously. Mainly just about how frequently they can shapeshift. Some groups had rules and how often they were allowed to come to shore to shift to human, but that was more because of how dangerous they thought it was to do so. Others had religious reasons for not changing frequently. Humans just assumed things based on incomplete data, Rose says with a shrug. I imagine they're pretty tough if they're shapeshifters, though. If you can already magically remake your whole body, it's gotta make you a little tougher to kill, surely, Jade asks. I couldn't find anything about that, but I'd assume so. But I guess anything that would kill a seal and a human would kill them. But they may be more resilient with smaller injuries. I'm not sure, Rose answers. Jade makes a very helpful suggestion of going through previous legal cases about selkies and quizzing each other about them so you all remember the details. This is because Jade is smart and a helpful person. A while after that, June suggests taking a break to watch a movie, which is how you end up on the floor with Dave as the girls take up the sofa as you watch some trash Nicolas Cage movies. This is because June is some sort of chaos-fueled trash person. All the same, the floor isn't that uncomfortable, and you do have cushions to sit on. Plus, you only have to share snacks with Dave instead of the 2 other people like the girls do on the sofa, so it's not that bad. Dave's shoulder slides against yours. I should have warned you, by the way, Dave whispers into the dark. June has the biggest fixation on Nick Cage ever. You will end up watching this weird man's stupid movies. It's too late to run. How could you not warn me sooner? You hiss at him. Misery loves company. Dave shrugs and throws popcorn in his mouth. Correction, tries to throw popcorn in his mouth. What he actually does is throw it at his face. You barely stifle your laugh at him. Shut up, it's too dark, that's why. Don't be weird, Dave tells you. What exactly are you being weird about? Oh, wait. Dave slides his sunglasses off his face and hangs them from the neck of his shirt. The room is dark, but not so dark that you can't make out the way Dave's irises are bright red. You wonder if this is some kind of magic albinism. Maybe his magic or his mother did something to make his coloring when she was pregnant with him. Rose already has unusual eyes, but Dave's is unusual all over. Are the sunglasses so people don't stare at him, or are they to protect his eyes? It's none of your business. He told you not to be weird. Alright, prove you can do it with your shades off, you whisper at him challengingly. Dave attempts to throw popcorn in his mouth again, and this time manages it. Yes! Dave cheers loudly, throwing his hands in the air. Dave, I can't hear the movie! June whines, shoving Dave in the shoulder with her foot. You're welcome. Ugh. Dave is promptly shoved over by June, leaving you to eat popcorn and watch the fight develop as you do nothing to stop it. Dave calls you a traitor. Jade ends up laughing so hard she nearly cries, and Rose gets a whole bunch of incriminating photos, or pictures of her brother. It's easily the best night you've ever had. You're not the deepest sleeper in the world, but bright, multicolored strobing lights flaring through your window will wake you up for sure. For a disoriented moment, you're... hold on, let me actually take a drink of water since we're taking a little break in the... little break in narrative. We're almost at the end. You're not the deepest sleeper in the world, but bright, multicolored, strobing lights flaring through the window will wake you up for sure. For a disoriented moment, you don't know what's going on or where you are. Then, when you remember your location, you think it's someone knocking on your door that's screwing with the lights. But no. The lights are coming from your shut window, and based on the red and blue colors, you can bet who it's to blame. Throwing off the color covers, you march to the window and the light stops. Your eyes adjust after a moment. You see Solix there. He points a finger upwards and mouths "roof" to you. You put on a show of considering this for a moment and then flipping him off. Solix's head tips forward and his horns hit the glass, not that you can hear it. Stepping away, you check your phone where it's charged at your bedside and see it's nearly 3 a.m. What the fuck is he doing waking you up at this time? You glance back at the window and see that he's still floating there watching you. He mouths, "Please," at you and points upward again. You're getting the distinct feeling that he's got no intention of leaving you until you go up there. Fine. You can have the satisfaction of telling him off for waking you up verbally instead of just giving him the stink eye through soundproof glass. You grab a hoodie off the back of the chair and shove your bare feet into the heavy boots. Solix flashes a smile and shoots upward. What an asshole, having the power of flight and shit. Fuck that guy. You stomp out of your room and up a crap ton of stairs until you get onto the roof. You look around, a little blind in the dark. The stairwell was so bright and it's dark out here. A small red light flares and then bicolored eyes open in the darkness. You stomp over there and his figure resolves in the dark, his skinny frame perched on the railing around the edge of the flat roof. He watches you approach him, and when you're almost to him, he exhales a stream of smoke off to the side. "Are you smoking?" you ask him skeptically. Solix raises a cigarette to his lips again, and the end glows red as he inhales. "Obviously, I'm waiting for a bus. Yes, I'm smoking. What question is that?" Solix snorts in a plume of smoke. "Oh, what, you're a demon, so you have to smoke a cigarette for the whole evil aesthetic thing? You dragged me out here for this pretentiousness? I'm going back to bed," you grumble. "It's not a cigarette," you say as you turn away. "Nope, not being drawn in that easily." What does he expect you to do? Clutch your pearls at his quote-unquote delinquency? As you walk away, he leaps off the railing and lands to block your path. It's literally just smoke. Sawdust and charcoal, really. The air appears so different. Sometimes you just miss the smoke, okay? But if it bothers you so much... Solix opens his mouth and puts the end of his not an actual cigarette onto his tongue. You jerk back in alarm, but it doesn't... out on his tongue. But it doesn't leave so much as a mark on his tongue. Of course, he's fireproof. "Listen, I don't really like apologizing," Solix says and rubs the back of his neck uncomfortably. You wait, and he stays silent. "Is that all you're going to say? Really?" You gawp in disbelief. The nerve of this guy. "But I didn't actually mean to make you react like that, so I don't like apologies, but how about a peace offering instead?" Solix says hastily. "I don't want anything from you. Look, I don't want to mess things up with our mutual friends. I'm not out for your blood or to turn you against them." You start. "I didn't think you were. You wouldn't..." Solix stops talking and looks away. "But clearly, you don't like me, and you can't seem to get through a conversation with me without being an asshole. You obviously know me well enough to know just where to stick the knife, and I'm not interested in that. We can have mutual friends and study together. That's fine. I don't want anything from you," you say patiently and turn your back on him. "You're going back to bed, and you're going to sleep. You've got class in the morning, damn it, nothing can stop you." "I'm sorry," Solix says desperately. You freeze. God damn it. "And I'll prove it. Listen, I hate letting people have control over me. I don't like people pulling my strings. That's why you beating me at my own game and getting those stupid unlimited time questions pissed me off so bad. But I'll give you another one for free. Same deal, same conditions, same open-ended date," he offers you quickly. You consider that and turn around. "What makes you think I want that? I saved my last 2 questions because I don't know enough to ask you anything useful. Having another doesn't benefit me much, especially as I have no idea what I can ask you that'll tell me anything interesting," you point out. "Come on, I can think of a ton of shit you could ask me that I would be able to tell you things I know you want to know. Even with a little you must remember since the event. You'd know enough to ask loads of stuff in theory," Solix insists. "Like what?" you say skeptically. What? You want me to do all the work for you? Solux huffs, folding his arms. Good night, Solux, you say with a sigh and manage to take a whole 2 steps towards the staircase doorway. You could ask me why the board caught fire, Solux shouts after you. You freeze and look around at him. He doesn't seem smug. Instead, his expression is more hopeful. If you didn't know better, you'd think he was actually desperate to get you to accept his peace offering. You wonder why. Did Dave put him up to this? Now that's a good question. Did Dave ask you to fix things with me or something? You ask suspiciously. No, Dave doesn't tell me what to do. He asked what the deal was, but that was it. Solux says almost defensively. Right, he doesn't like people pulling his strings, so the accusation that Dave is doing something, or doing that, somehow rubs him the wrong way. Noted. You consider Solux for a moment or two more, and then hold out your hand. We shook before on the question thing. I saw it put what I guess is now Ath script on my arm. It must be there, even if I can't see it, which means you're adding a question on a peace offering. You have to modify it, right? So we shake, you tell him. A smile flashes across Solux's face, and he takes your hand in his. The same text as before flares on your arm, and you see one character flick into a different one. 3 questions left, Solux confirms and lets you go. Go on, then. Since this whole peace offering thing is about me using it up, tell me why the board caught fire. As much as I hate to admit, I am curious about that, you say. You try to keep your cool. Will he notice? Will he see through you? I knew you'd be curious, Solux grins and kicks off the floor so he can float lazily in the air. First of all, you seem to be under the impression that I'm not going to tell you certain things because I don't want to, or because it's against the rules, and partly, I don't want to say some stuff because it's against the rules I've already agreed to, but more importantly, is stuff I literally can't, he explains. How, you ask? Demons know better than to try because we know how this shit works, but I'll explain. When I get close to saying something I shouldn't, I usually get a feeling about it. A warning that I'm skirting too close to something. If I try to say anything, the words literally won't come out. If I'm writing, my hand will stop making letters. Any form of communication that I'm trying to use breaks down. But you could be clever and try to work it out past the things that I can't say. See the outline of what it is and make smart guesses, you know? But when it senses that we're trying to get past the magic around it, it sinks its teeth in and you start getting consequences. Painful ones. Solux tells you. So the person I was talking to was a demon, you say slowly? I don't know. You have to have some serious magic power to even push through it in the first place, but the same consequences affect anyone regardless of species. No one can tell you what you are if you don't already know because it's information that was wiped. Though I honestly... Solux falters and makes a face. Yeah, see, that happens. Let me try again. I think it's stupid that you don't get to remember, Solux says instead. You don't know what Solux was about to say. You're stuck on something he did say, though. He can't say for sure that whoever was contacting you was a demon, but it seemed implied that this is demonic magic at work. Demons are the only species, to your knowledge, that remember everything perfectly, and there's loads of suspicion on demons because of that, and because they can't explain everything about the event. But if Solux isn't sure that you were talking to a demon or not, then that isn't necessarily true. He really can't tell you anything unless you manage to work it out for yourself. If you already know it, then he doesn't have to keep it from you. He expected you to have your memory when he saw you, and you're not a demon, not as far as you know anyway. He got pissy when he found out that you remembered nothing, and supposedly he's been acting weird ever since. He knew you well enough to be really hurtful, but seemed surprised at how badly you took it. Solux is genuinely off balance about the person you are without your memories, isn't he? But he's sorry enough to give you this peace offering. Alright, you nod slowly. So, we're even then? Peace offering accepted? Solux sighs. Yeah, I appreciate having 3 questions left. That was a nice gesture. You beam at him. 2 questions. You used one. I didn't say the thing I have to make it a deal question, did I? You just told me all that for free, which, you know, thanks for that. You say brightly and hold up your arm. No, that's... Solux stares at you and the writing around your arm glows into visibility again. I fucking hate you, Solux whispers. You smile sharply at him and walk off. Night, Solux. Don't wake me up in the middle of the night again. Thanks, you say over your shoulder. He's staring after you and practically glowing with anger. You can't even try to keep the ear-to-ear grin off your face. You just beat him in his own game for a 2nd time in a row. Ha! Yay! End of chapter! End of chapter! Oh, delightful. Oh, these two, I literally... I love them so much. I love them so much. I love them so much. Oh, Karkat's playing the game. He's playing the game with him. I'm telling you guys, there's gonna be points when we're gonna get further in, and I will just like I will be unable to read because I will just be giggling. I am seeing, I'm understanding. Sino, you don't even know. You don't even know yet. Oh, it's gonna get so good. Oh my goodness. I kind of wanna. Oh, the next chapter is so long. I'm like, part of me is like, I kind of want to keep going, because I could go for another chapter. Sino, could you go for another chapter, or are you like, is it late for you? I mean, it's late for me, but it would be another what, hour and a half? Because I could do another one. I could do another one, but Sino, if it's too late for you, then I won't, and we can just keep going tomorrow. You know what? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get a quick refresh on my water. I'm gonna get a quick refresh on my water. I need like 10 minutes to grab food real quick. Oh, okay, we will take a quick 10-minute break. And we will then do the next chapter. We'll do both. We'll do 2 chapters tonight. Take a snack break. Come back, and we will do chapter 4. Yay! All right. Okay, I'm gonna go also get a snack and water. I need to get more. So yeah, I will play the music a little louder. And yeah, be right back, guys. we're back. Cutting down the music. I kind of been trying to have the music pretty low because I was looking back at my VOD and just trying to make sure it's all good. I want to be like very, very quiet in the background, so I hope it's been about that level. Because I can't tell, because the actual volume of my speaker, I can change different to what I have it on stream. So I'll probably have to take more pauses in this one, in this chapter to drink more water. He's Smash. I think that's a lovely name. Elifty getting explained the yeah, just you know what, when they started introducing the Dancestors, my brain broke a little bit, I will admit. It was so many people at once. You get to what's the name of that Flash? Openbound, right? It's Openbound, right? Where you're just meeting all the Dancestors, and I was like, oh my goodness, there is so much going on here. So much. It is Openbound, gotcha. Yeah. There's so many guys. You're like, oh my god. And then it was funny because when I was reading Homestuck, I was reading it out loud with my friend, and we got to Cancri. And my friend Mel was like, we can just skip it. Like, you don't have to read Cancri's stuff. And I was like, no, I have to read it all. So I was sitting there reading all of fucking Cancri's I wonder if I can find a screenshot for the people who don't know. Cancri Openbound Homestuck. He talks, yeah. So for those who don't know, Cancri talks like a lot. Like, this is one of the joking, like, Cancri quotes. Like, this is the text just gets bigger and bigger, and it makes it worse. It's so and he talks like he's supposed to be like a parody of like kind of Tumblr, like what the stereotype of social justice warriors was. Yeah, that's me. Like, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry that I am, perhaps literally the only one not to ever fall prey to your tireless omnidirectional solicitations, or to get swept up in one of your innumerable flushed or calignous flings. I happened to always prefer you as a friend, and in any case, I prefer to be relatively chaste existence, as it keeps me focused on fighting on the behalf of the truly important problems, although staying relatively chaste to you, I suppose, is not saying much. Like, he just talks so much. He's so annoying. He is so everything. He's such a windbag. Yeah, he's great. Listen, I hated Cancri, and then I read Your Worst Destroy Planet. Now I love Cancri. So here's the thing, it's kind of screwed up that the joke is that he's an SJW, because people who are like that will grow out of it, but also he aged like fine fucking wine. Yeah. Is chapter 4 longer than chapter 3? We can compare. Can I compare the little bar? If I compare the little bar, it is longer than by a little bit. You see the little, actually, oh, you can't see the bar. Oh god. Well, there's my desktop background. You see this bar? So this is chapter 3. Oh, well, I guess you can't see it when it's like that. It is longer. It is a little longer. YWDMP Cancri is so based. I love him so much. I love him so dearly. Hey, listen, here's the thing. If we like alternate universe enough, and if this goes well enough, like if we commit and do all 45 chapters, I will happily read Your Worst Destroy My Planet on stream. I think that would be a fucking awesome time. I will read all of Unda's fics on stream. This is not a joke. I've been wanting to do a Your Wish My Planet reread. Maybe I'll just have to. I'll have to wait. This will just become this. My stream will solely become we read Homestuck fanfiction on stream. Though once we get through all of Unda's fics, most of the other fics that I read have more like explicit qualities to them, so I couldn't read those on stream. But it would be so fun to read Your Wish My Planet on stream. Just for I would have such a great time. Okay. It's time. Chapter 4. Let's not delay too much because then the stream will be like 4 hours long. I know it's not finished yet, but I think YWDMP is my favorite of theirs. Yeah. I think here's my theory. YWDMP I think is gonna end soon. I think it'll end before MC Escher 2 comes out. That's my guess. Which means I think it'll end before April 13th of this year, because that's, I'm pretty sure, when MC Escher 2 is supposed to come out. So, you know, thinking like that. Because I think we're getting close to the end of YWDMP, because it's like 1,000,000 words, and even Days Broken Diamond Club was, you know, only a little longer than 1,000,000 words. I'm not sure I can stay for all of Chapter 4, but I'll stay as long as I can. No worries, the VOD will be made available. Alright, here we go. It's time, let's jump in. Chapter 4, Hotel California. You're pretty tired in the morning, and you and Rose are sat side by side on the sofa. The news is running on the now fixed TV. You're both silently trying to wake up. Japanese authorities have been trying to stabilize the region from further landslides, but Magi archaeologists are petitioning for the excavation to be allowed, as the site is believed to be an ancient site for containing great magic. Local residents are pushing back against the petition. The news rambles on. Magical archaeology seems dangerous as shit, you mumble into your coffee cup. Dave is really interested in it. Rose yawns. Really? You ask. Rose nods and continues drinking her coffee. The news moves on to political topics, which is almost enough to send you back to sleep again. Instead, you try and think about your classes. You've got alchemy later. Maybe you could ask Dave to study with you. He did take you out to coffee. You could repay the favor by asking him for lunch before class. There's a puff of displaced air, and the noise nearly makes you spill your coffee. You already know who it is before the synthetic apple smell hits your nose. Morning, Rose sighs sleepily and leans over the back of the sofa to look at Solux. Oh, that smells good. You got enough left for me? Solux asks hopefully. In the pot, help yourself, Rose says and gestures to the kitchen. Solux turns and goes to caffeinate himself. You're not a fan of the fact that he can just teleport into your dorm, but you instinctively feel that if you tell him that, he'll just do it to piss you off. Better stay quiet for once. As he turns to grab a mug, you jolt an alarm. Across his cheek are 4 bright slashes of gold that are slowly dripping down his face. What happened to your face? You ask him in shock. Rude, Solux snorts. No, Solux, your cheek is bleeding, Rose adds. Solux seems genuinely surprised and touches his cheeks. His fingers come away in bright gold. Oh, he says softly. You scramble off the sofa and go towards him. It almost looks like he was clawed by something. Bad day, huh? Rose asks. Yeah. Does it hurt? You ask as worry flares in you. You don't like the idea of something being strong enough to do damage to a demon like him, but on the other hand, he hadn't noticed until you pointed it out. I'll live. I didn't realize I left a mark. Solux tilts his head to the side with a flare of fire. His wounds knit shut, and the gold blood on his fingertips burn away and boil. What happened? You ask. None of your business, he responds sharply. Oh, yeah. He doesn't like you. With a full mug of coffee, Solux walks past you and floats in the air near Rose. You watch as he does a motion that you'd think of as reaching to take something out of a jacket pocket, only he seems to take it out of himself, as if his chest was as much of a pocket dimension as your bag is. He hands her a letter. This was there for you. You should redirect that to here, he says. Oh, I forgot about them. I'll change my address online today. Rose nods and tosses the envelope onto the table. Solux pulls out an open sheet of paper and hands that to her second. You or Dave have to sign off on that if that's what you want. I think it's best next step, but this kind of thing actually requires your approval, so, you know. He shrugs. Rose reads the letter, and you can't help but brim with curiosity, yet you know it's none of your business. This is what we talked about before. I'll sign it. Have you? Thanks. Rose stops asking as Solux summons a pen out of thin air. Rose scribbles her signature on the letter and gives them both back to Solux. Thanks, I'll be back this afternoon unless I troll you two. Later, Solux says and falls backward through the air and vanishes in a puff of dual-colored smoke. What was that all about? You probably shouldn't ask, but you are curious. He took your mug with you, you point out. God damn it, he did. Oh well, I know where he lives. I'm going to shower. I've got class soon. Some of us got to the early morning alchemy class. You say, or Rose says pointedly, as if you had any say in choosing your slot. When Rose leaves to shower, your curiosity overpowers you. You peek at the sealed envelope on the table and see that the address is in New York, where you're from. Solix teleported all the way from there? Or where they're from. What's he even doing at their house anyway? And what was that other letter about? You're filled with questions and frustratingly short on answers. You dress and cross over with Rose to get into the bathroom. By the time you're done brushing your teeth and washing your face, she's gone to class. Well, if she's gone, and you know that Solix is literally hundreds of miles away, maybe you could go see Dave. See if he wants to hang out before class. You're supposed to be making friends, remember? Now, you have enough experience of people not liking you that it's hard to dismiss concerns that someone won't like you as mere paranoia. Historically, people don't want you around. You also know that thinking about that becomes somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy, so you try to minimize the time that you have to think about it by sprinting to Dave's room at maximum speed. You bang on the door with your fist and try to catch your breath in the time it takes for Dave to open it. Hi! You yell, your voice bouncing down the corridor of to sounds of muffled alarm and annoyance from other students. Dave grabs your shirt and yanks you inside, slamming the door after you. You're stood there in Dave's room with your hand clamped over your mouth and mortification prickling hot up the back of your neck. Well, that sure woke me up, Dave says. He's still wearing pajamas. They're Disney princess. Of course they are. I love this. Sorry. I fucking love him. I am so sorry, you tell him in a strangled voice. For yelling, that is. Not his weird-ass taste in sleepwear. It's cool. What princesses? Oh, what princess would be Dave's favorite? Ah, that's a hard question. Leave your answers in chat. Leave your answers in chat. You guys can debate while I keep reading. What? No, he already apologized. Sort of. It's fine. You tell him, and Dave visibly perks up. You guess you not getting on with his best friend must have weighed on him a little. Aw, hell yeah. Dave nods happily. I wanted to see you, you tell him. Oh, Dave says. That came off weird, didn't it? Well, you got me coffee before, so I thought maybe I should return the favor, or maybe we could study for alchemy together so we don't set shit on fire and actually get to learn the cool stuff instead of fucking up. Or maybe we could study and I could take you for food or something, or do both. I mean, you babble. Your voice getting louder, so you shut your mouth and try to control yourself. How often does that volume thing happen? Dave asks, ignoring your question entirely. Too much, you say hoarsely. Dave seems curious, so you look at the floor instead of him and keep talking. More when I'm stressed out apologizing for doing it, irritatingly enough. I think it's more than a volume thing. It seems to make people afraid of me, you say in a whisper. I'm not afraid of you, Dave says simply. Something in your chest clenches, and a wave of gratitude crashes over you. He tells you to come on and pulls you over to his couch. The two of you spend a productive 15 minutes talking about alchemy before you end up playing snipper clips on his Switch. The insistence that both of you know what you're doing leads to not a lot of puzzle solving, but a lot of snickering and elbowing each other on the sofa. No, left, you dumb fuck, you hiss as you back your character away from his until he does what he's supposed to do. My left or your left, Dave asks, as he shifts on the sofa, tucking his legs up onto his knees, so his knees rest against yours. He's warm, and your hand still is on the small controller he's giving you. It's the same left, you tell him, but what you're thinking is whether this is friendship or not. It certainly feels great. It feels like the first taste of something you've missed for a long time. Dave laughs, his breathy little barely there thing, and your own breath catches. He rotates his character just fine, and you know he was only fucking with you because he thought it was funny. The level puzzle is solved, and you both move on. About an hour before your class, Solux pops it back in, and you jump so hard you drop the controller. Ha! Solux laughs, pronounced in a touch mean. Hey man, Dave says easily, and Solux smiles for him, warm and open. An uncomfortable thing twangs in your chest. Wake me up before class, Solux says, and Dave nods just once. Solux bounds upwards into the hanging hammock thing, and looking at you, you see it shift as he moves about in it. It reminds you of videos of cats that you've seen snuggling up in small beds. Is it inappropriate to think of it like that? He's a person, not an animal. You understand some of his behavior, but it's not behavior you do. It's alien to you. Solix doesn't seem to care that you're here, or that the sound from the game is still going on. You're still staring up at the bed when Dave nudges you. He can sleep through anything he wants. Come on, he tells you and gives you back your controller. Alright, you better play it right this time. It's supposed to be a cooperative game, you know, you remind him. That sounds like loser talk to me. Dave snickers. You elbow him anyways. You lose focus a few times when Solix shifts in his sleep, especially when it results in his two tails dangling down from his bed that occasionally twitch or fidget. You're assuming they're moving because he's dreaming. As it comes close to class time, Dave eventually stands on the sofa and reaches into Solix's bed to wake him. Come on, class, Dave says softly as you linger by the door. Dave's so nice to him. You think he might just be nice in general under the thin veil of not caring that he puts up. He acts like he's cool, but you think he might be a sensitive guy, actually. Solix mumbles sleepily from within the bed. Dave jiggles the giant hanging bed enough to stir the demon inside, and sure enough, Solix's head pops out from the darkness. His hair is standing up on one side, and he blinks all of his eyes, slightly out of sync with each other. When he yawns, his teeth are the stuff of nightmares, but Dave looks at him like Steve Irwin used to look at dangerous wild animals, like, "Aw, sure, he could kill me with a thought, but he's just so lovely." It's stupid and ridiculous, and you're pretty sure things like that ought to get Dave killed, and yet it makes you feel something. For Dave, your roommate's twin. Oh no. This could get complicated. Solix jumps down from his bed and ruffles his hair into shape. Dave flashes you a smile and your insides heat. Oh fuck, this is bad. What's worse is Solix gets this look like he knows somehow, and for all you know, he does. He looks sly and smug. He's a demon. He probably has some kind of visions feeling thing that you don't know about. Your life is over. This is how you die. Come on, man. We gotta go not set that class on fire today, Dave says with a chuckle and opens the door. Maybe you can self-immolate in class and not have to face the situation. That sounds like a solution. After class, during which you didn't set yourself or anything else on fire, you're out for coffee with Dave again because he's nice. The insecure part of your brain suggests that he's only socializing with you because you don't have any friends, that you don't know him, or that you don't know through him and his sister, and that he feels sorry for you, which you suppose is almost your entire brain. The slightly more skeptical part suggests that you don't think Dave is trying to be, or is the type to be nice like this out of pity, and yet you can't come up with a reason behind that thought. It's more of a gut feeling. I guess it depends on whether you think that something being vegan is pretentious or not. I'm not really solid on that. Sure, a venti almond milk latte no foam sounds more pretentious than the same with regular milk, but more specific isn't always more pretentious, you know, Dave opines pointlessly. I am amazed at how seriously you take your quest for ironically pretentious coffee, you tell him honestly. Go big or go home, I guess, Dave shrugs. I live here now. I suppose I still have my keys to my old place, but I am never going back. I am home. Well, not this coffee shop, but this town, city, whatever. You say and gesture vaguely around you. Dave sips at the coffee and nods thoughtfully, your reflection bobbing in his sunglasses. Go big or go home, he suggests. Or go big and go home. A variable I hadn't considered. Mind of the century here, you grin. Glad you admit it, Dave says. He's pretty. You hate that you noticed that. It's not like he's rugged magazine action hero attractive, but he seems pretty in the way that humans used to describe early encounters with their species. There's something otherworldly and charming in how he looks. Or maybe it's just how you have to pay attention to the rest of his face to know what he's thinking, since you can't see his eyes. His phone buzzes and he picks it up. He'd already taken it out to take photographs of your coffee, ironically, earlier. Oh, yeah, I meant to ask if you're doing anything this evening. I know you haven't got class because Rose doesn't, but you're not working, are you? Dave asks and taps his phone. No, why? You tell him. So Solux had the demon part of our Xenobio thing, and his plan involves us going out tonight somewhere with him. We're supposed to dress cool, which is like the demon version of smart casual. Look nice, but not like you're trying kind of thing, Dave explains. That actually sounds like something that's frustratingly non-specific, but I guess I could. Where are we going? You ask him curiously. I don't know. It's a surprise. Dave grins and puts his phone away. You guess he's told Solux where you're going. Not that you know where you're going, and following him off somewhere without knowing where you're going seems like a great way to get yourself murdered in the woods. Then, because you're an idiot, you say that out loud to his best friend. He's not going to murder you in the woods, Dave groans. You say, you tell him. Dave kicks you in the ankle.
What kind of outing with him would even halfway tell us about demons in the context of xenobiology, you ask? Dave shrugs, and your mind floods with two worrisome possibilities. On one end, there's the possibility of, here's this demon being flayed alive, see its organs and stuff. And on the other, there is the, look at this demon anatomy and this strip joint. You're keen to avoid both, but it seems like you're going regardless of what Solix has chosen to do. Does it always go like this when you introduce your demon friend to people? You ask him curiously. He got on fine with Jade, Dave says with a shrug. Again, you wonder if it's just you that's the problem here. What about June? How did introducing them go? Because they seem close now, you wonder. Aw, man, June gets along with everyone. People just like being around her. She's great. Dave gushes. You nod along because June does seem pretty nice as far as you can tell. She and Solix get along real well. They hang out together and go and cause trouble. The whole Xeno-bio shenanigans thing is very on brand for them, but Dave frowns and trails off for a moment. I don't actually remember introducing them. That isn't uncommon for people who have lost their memories to the event. They'll think they've not lost anything until they try to recall a specific thing that must have happened in the past. In this case, the first introduction of June and Solux, but suddenly the memory isn't there. That's a shame. It would have been cool to know how that went down, you tell him easily. You, of all people, understand memory loss. Yeah, especially because June's dad is super religious. Some super niche thing. He was always hush-hush about it. June had this theory he was some weird business cult, or no, he was in a cult and his appearance as a respectable suburban businessman was a cover. That was it. Either way, he didn't have a problem with the demon chilling in his house when we went over there. Dave shrugs. That's good. It must suck that people can see what he is so easily and be a shit about it. People would talk shit about non-humans in front of me like I was human too, because a lot of people assume that's what I am. I don't know. Maybe I prefer looking more like whatever I am. You sigh morosely and spin your coffee around on the little plate the mug came on. I would guess that you do look exactly like what you're seeing, as that's what you are, and this is how you look. Dave reasons in a word salad that is somehow reassuring and semi-coherent in meaning. Thanks, you laugh. I give the smoothest compliments, you know? That's why I have so many fans and admirers. You look like the thing you are. Oh, yeah. Dave makes what you can only classify as a douchebag expression that quickly fractures into poorly stifled amusement at himself. It is worse that he's sort of right, because that dumbass statement hasn't changed that you think that he's pretty alright, actually, and also that you still think he's pretty. That must be terrible for you to deal with. Such pressure, you say instead. Oh, it's the worst. Just trying to get places and people are throwing themselves at my feet, worshiping me instead of the gods. Like damn, not like damn son, stop kissing my shoes. I have to get class and set fire to the ceiling. Dave intones seriously. Let's resolve not to do that again, you frown, says the guy who set fire to a Ouija board. Dave snorts instantly. One time, you yell. Across the coffee shop, the glass cups that they have for fancy teas ring against each other, and people look around at you in alarm. Well, you can't see them if you're face down on the table in shame, can you? I bet that's really useful sometimes, Dave says, instead of making a big deal out of it. You think it might be if you were separated from someone and then spotted them far away, only you never had people you want to talk to get separated from. And that's frankly far too pathetic to say to Dave, so you smartly resolve not to. Dave's phone pings and you take the distraction opportunity it presents. Jade is asking me what we should wear because she wants to super overdo it. Wait, never mind. She says she's going to super overdo it regardless. That'll be cool. Dave says as he reads. We're all going to look like trash next to her, aren't we? You sigh. Speak for yourself. I always look great. Remember? The fans? Dave insists. You roll your eyes at him, but you feel yourself smiling anyway. You still spend a while dithering in front of your wardrobe that evening, eventually resorting to getting Rose to help you out. You end up in a nice black shirt and smartish but not too smart gray jeans, and your least shitty-looking pair of shoes that even you wouldn't charitably call nice. Rose, on the other hand, is wearing a nice black skirt and a purple and black shirt that is remarkably eldritch in pattern. Because it's pretty cold out, you both sensibly take jackets with you and meet up with the others. Jade has overdone it, as she said, and is wearing a dress that seems to have actual shifting stars on it, and glittery red shoes. June also seems nice, even if the leggings that she's wearing under her floaty blue dress make her look a little more casual than Jade. Dave doesn't appear to be much more differently dressed than usual, and Solix is wearing this eye-searing blue and red dress shirt that hurts to look at. If that's the standard attire, you think you'll be fine. Solix leads you all out of the building and down the road as he walks and starts to talk. Demonology lecture time, Solix announces and hops on the low wall and walks along it as you go along the pavement by him. Demons as a classification are about as helpful as, I don't know, mammal. There's so many kinds of us, and we're all so different, but we do have a shared culture, I guess, and we're all part of the same ecosystem of stuff in our plane of existence, so it's whatever, he explains. How do you separate each other, then, if the term demon is too broad? For a moment, you think he's not going to answer just because it's you, but in the end, he does. Alright, let me explain. When I see another demon, I know things about them just by looking. It's like a stat sheet in video games. I know what their current job field is, I know their ranking, and I know what gender they are. You just know this stuff, he says. What's a ranking? Jade asks. There's a hierarchy. The better your rank, the more important you are. Obviously, you have to have a job. Obviously, if you have a job, you have a boss. But if someone else is significantly higher than you, they can still tell what you do, and to a certain extent, you gotta do it. You get your rank from a few things. First, there's the job you have. Some jobs are better regarded than others, just like with humans. You need doctors and you need people to take the trash out, but people for sure respect one more than the other. It's the same with us. The second is who made you and what their rank is. That's your lineage, and that's important. Demons with more power can make more powerful demons than weaker demons can, so it reflects on you. Solix goes on. Like coming from an important family for humans, Rose nods. Close enough, yeah. The third thing is your actual magical power, but there's an element of physical power in there too. Basically how tough you'd be in a fight. The last thing is kind of social standing. If people respect or like you, it'll be better. If you have a reputation for fucking other demons over and being a shitty person to deal with, it'll be lower. I know someone's score as a whole, but it's usually not hard to figure out roughly why they have it. Solix tells you all. What's your score then? Jade asks. Really, really good, Solix brags. You're pretty sure that you don't believe that, but you're also not dumb enough to fall for the obvious bait of calling him out on that. So, not that I don't like learning these things, but why do we have to get all dressed up and walk around Salem to learn all of this? Rose asks, and Solix gestures for you all to take a left down the nearest corner. I figured you all want to see other demons. I mean, I know you two know a lot about this stuff, but they don't. Solix reasons, indicating Dave and Rose, and the rest of you hapless fools. You're taking us to meet other demons? June asks, raising an eyebrow at Solix. Yeah, it's a party. There'll be all kinds of demons there. It'll be educational. Solix nods. I didn't know there was a large enough demon presence around here to have a party. Are people teleporting here? Also, where are we going? Rose asks. You tip your head back a little as you walk along with the group. It's a nice night, clear sky, full moon. It's nice. It's held at the Club Mirage, which gets translocated all around the world. It makes it way more exclusive, and I'm not saying harder for law enforcement to deal with or crack down on, but I'm not saying that either. Since it's my party, they moved it here, Solix explains. You watch as Dave gushes about how cool it is, and that derails your group's lesson on demons to ask Solix about how the mechanics of demon clubs work. Who decides who gets in, who runs it, what the music is like, and so on. Solix looks like he couldn't be happier to answer Dave's questions, and Dave is clearly buzzing with excitement to go. June has her arm around Rose's shoulder, and the two of them are just as plainly watching Dave and Solix interact with much amusement. It's a nice little dynamic that's clearly been forged over the years. It's an odd feeling to have because you're here and included, but it feels like this is something you wish you'd always had but never did. A glance at Jade tells you that she's feeling something similar to you, and you suppose with her being alone on an island, she can probably relate. They get on so well, huh? You ask quietly to her. Yeah, they're really all fun to be around, and living with June is great. Jade beams, suddenly brighter now that she knows you're talking to her specifically. Rose is a good roommate. I'm glad we got put together. What about you and June? You ask her. It's really fun. Way better than living with my old foggy grandpa before he died. Although June does leave her stinky socks around the place, Jade confides with you. No, I don't, June denies loudly from ahead of you. Looks like she was listening in. You do, Jade laughs. That's a good question. Hey, idiots, I have important information, Solix says loudly, interrupting you. Rose just asked about what rules are at this place, and that's actually a pretty vital thing, Solix begins again, and you all quieten down to listen to him. Demons run on different rules than human society does. Obviously, no one wants to be killed, and we don't take kindly to people we care about getting killed. The biggest thing stopping a demon from killing another demon is the revenge cycle it starts, but it's not against the rules. We don't have law enforcement or anything. What we do have is specific times when there are rules, he goes on. If you host a party, you're not allowed to attack or kill your guests, or to get someone to do it for you. If you're a guest at that party, you're not allowed to attack or kill anyone else there. It's a very serious rule because parties here are really important to us. You negotiate things there. You have relationships there that you can't risk anywhere else. You mediate problems there. Whether you invite someone or don't is a big way of communicating favor, and you can't muddy that with murder, Solix explains seriously. Like claiming sanctuary in a church or something, you guess. Kind of, but cooler. Breaking that rule is a huge deal. You don't do it. Which is why it's okay for me to bring all of you here. You're my guests, so no one can touch you, Solix says. That makes you feel a little bit better, but you're still not really sure what to expect. Not too long after that, you catch sight of a large black... Hold on. Let me take another sip of water. My throat. Okay. Not too long after that, you catch sight of a large black glass building, lit up by red lights. It's easily several stories high, and even from where you are, you can hear the thump of music from within. There's a line of people wrapped around the front of the building, a mix of demons lined up, waiting, and humans mixed in too. Your eyebrows raise when you catch a sight of a few humans. Aside from being all gorgeous, you're pretty sure they're all famous. You can pick out a couple of YouTube stars, a number of musicians that even you recognize despite not being a music person, and film stars too. Solix doesn't take your hand to the line, no. He leads... Sorry. I have this really vivid image now of like... like, oh my god, is that Grian from Hermitcraft in the demon party line to get in? They said YouTubers. Sorry. Holy shit. Oh my god, the Twitch streamers, they're just lining up. Anyways. Holy shit, Phil's a Minecraft in the fucking club? My god. My god. Solix doesn't take you to the line now. Is that Chrisrin at the demon party? Holy shit. Oh my god. I believe that a good portion of streamers would be demons. Yeah, Skitty. You're definitely right. Excuse me. Alright. Solix doesn't take you to the line. No, he leads your group past the line as if he can't see the disapproving looks from the humans who presumably think you're cutting ahead. For all you know, he's enjoying people thinking that he won't get in. The man on the door is about 7 foot tall and nearly as wide, with deep red skin and thick horns. His teeth are long and overhang his lip in a way that reminds you of a saber-toothed tiger. The man exudes quiet menace, and yet when he sees Solix leading your group, he snaps to attention and opens the door immediately. The guy doesn't even have to ask Solix who he is, or who he was. Thanks, they're with me, Solix says politely and takes you all in. The door clicks behind you, and for a moment your group lingers on the staircase by the door as you take it all in. Club Mirage is, as you had worked out earlier, held over several floors. The main floor of the club is down the stairs from where you are, a dance floor with a mass of dancing demons, all moving to the music from a live band. There's a bar along one wall, and the main floor has raised areas for people to dance in. The whole thing looks wild. You understand right away Solix's point that demons are all different. There's people in there who, like Solix, look pretty close to human if not for the tails, horns, and coloring, but some who look impossibly different. Demons with extra limbs, heads, demons of vastly different sizes, some with fur, scales, the works. The top level of the club is a ring that goes around the upper levels to the floor below, affording those up there a view of what's below, but also granting them a private seating. You can't help but note that there is another guard on the stairs up that way. It seems that not everyone is allowed. Again, this might be a status thing. Interesting. How exactly can we know how important a demon is, or what they do? June asks as she leans over the railing of the stairs to look at the crowd below. From my understanding, the demon professions that have more interactions with humans appear more humanoid. That, of course, won't tell you exactly what they do, but I'd imagine it'd narrow it down, Rose says, saying more or less what you read in a book from your first day here. Solix squints at her with a slightly put-out expression on his face. What? You ask. I mean, that's It's not like you're wrong, Rose, but you're also not right, or not right for the right reasons. That's like someone asking what's the fastest way to remove a tattoo on your arm and you suggest amputation. Like, yeah, that'll do it, but that's not. No, look, come on, we'll go upstairs. Solix says and shakes his head. He leads your group past the secondary bouncer on the stairs and along to a booth table outfitted in soft black leather with gold riveted accents. As you sit down, you're momentarily paranoid that you don't know what this leather is from, and horrible images of potential torture flood to your mind, but you're not going to ask Solux. He'll probably just lie to fuck with you, so you have no way of knowing the real answer. Well, unless you've been a question, and you're not about to do that. Best not think about it. Alright, so your reasoning holds for incubi and succubi. It helps to be able to pass for human when you're trying to tempt them, although not always. Humans are pretty notorious for fucking anything. There's a reason most people who are half one species and half something else, they're almost always half human. Humans are wild, Solux comments. I'm not sure if I feel offended or proud, Rose muses. Go for proud. Get it, humans? Dave nods. Right, but the guy on the door whose job it is to guard things, he's going to be big and beefy and scary looking because that's what he's for. But there's plenty of us who don't deal with humans as our primary purpose, and we still look like this. We look like the way we do because it's how we were made, basically. Solix explains. Jade opens her mouth to start a question, but gets no further than how before a little creature bursts into life in the middle of the round table of your booth. It's about as tall as the distance between your, it's about as tall as the distance between your middle fingertip and the end of your palm, but its head is about a third of its size. The creature has little horns, a tail, and is glowing orange. It chitters in a manner that you can only class as excited, and Solix smiles at it. Hey man, how you doing? Solix asks and holds out a finger. The little creature shakes his finger with a tiny clawed hand. This is, and then Solix says a name that you're pretty sure can't be rendered into letters. He's an imp. I didn't know you were working here now. The imp squeaks and chatters away, gesturing a little as he talks. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Good to hear it worked out for you, though. He wants to know what you'd all like to drink. Solix directs that last part to the rest of you. Hey there, bro. I'm Dave. Dave introduces himself in an excited whisper, probably not wanting to startle the little guy. The imp on the table waves his hand and bows deeply a few times, and chatters away in a language that only Solux seems to understand. He seems a little anxious to you. Come on, Dave. Think of a drink you want. This guy's got a job to do. We don't want to delay him and get him in trouble. He can make you anything you want. Anything at all, Solix says. Oh, can you do some super fancy apple juice? Dave gasps in delight. The little imp nods vigorously. Do you have anything dark and spooky? Is that too vague? Rose asks curiously. The imp seems to consider this for a moment and then snaps his finger and nods. Something super tropical and tasty, Jade adds. Again, the imp nods. What about ice cream soda with ice cream in it? June says. This is also specific, and you have no idea what you want. You've not even bought any more time thinking, because Solix just says he'll have as usual, and then the imp is focused on you. You freeze under the pressure of having to make a simple decision. I don't know what I want, you tell the poor thing. He tips his head to the side and squints at you, and then babbles at Solix, waving a hand in your direction. Solix seems thoughtful, but nods. I'll ask. Hey, he can touch you and see what kind of thing you might like, Solix explains, tapping a finger to the middle of his forehead. Oh, that sounds interesting. Do that, Rose encourages you. You're not thrilled about the idea, but you've held everyone else up long enough, so you lean into the table and down enough so that the imp can reach you. He chitters and squeaks and reaches a tiny hand out, pressing it to the middle of your forehead. There's more indecipherable babble as after a moment's pause, and the imp takes his hand back. With a flash of orange smoke, he's gone. Any idea what you're getting? Dave asks you curiously. Not a clue, you tell him. I have a question, Jade cuts in, and you're glad for the interruption. Hi, Solix, great party, a pretty demon girl says as she walks by your table. Solix smiles at her, but returns his attention to Jade immediately. Interesting. You talk about demons having jobs, but you say it like it's a given thing. Like you didn't go out and look in the paper for a job. You say it like that's what, like it's... Bleh. Oh my goodness, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. You say it's like it's what you are, Jade says. You're not even sure if people still advertise jobs in the paper or not. Yeah, well, we're made for a specific purpose. That's our job. It doesn't translate super well, but it's basically the same thing. You're either made for a field of work or a very specific thing. Demons aren't like humans or fae or anything. We're not made by accident. When we're made for something, Solix tells her. So, what are you made for? Jade asks. Jade, are you implying that you don't see Solix doing a lot of anything? You say meanly and smirk at Solix, who narrows his eyes at you. It's notable that he has had all 4 of his eyes open the whole time he's been here. Maybe this is a situation where it's more useful to see things. I'm not a good example. If you wanted to, you could think of different job types being like species of demons, like guards or the imps or whatever. My type is rare. There's only ever been one other like me, and he's gone, so I'm the last. Solix says with a shrug. Oh, Solix, I'm sorry, Jade says, clearly mortified at having inadvertently brought up something that's probably uncomfortable. What? No, fuck that guy. He sucked. I'm delighted he's gone. Solix laughs. Okay, so perhaps it's not a sensitive subject. Either way, the moment is broken by the imp returning and handing out elaborate drinks to everyone. Rose is just as spooky and dark as requested, actually billowing over with smoke of some kind, which makes her look positively malevolent when she drinks it. The little imp pops up and is dispensing out drinks until he gets to you. Oh, hey, and again Solix says a name that you can't quite parse. You're working here too. How's the wife? The imp, apparently a different one than before, chirps and churs at Solix in response. The imp is holding your drink, which comes in a curved glass in a stand, like some of those fancy European beers do. It looks thick and amber-colored, and the imp seems to give you some kind of talk about it, as it sets its drink down before you, but unfortunately you don't speak the language, so you have no idea what was just said, and Solix doesn't fill you in. What is it? Dave asks you curiously. I literally have no clue. It's not fizzing or anything, you tell him. Jade's drink is literally fizzling as it has a sparkler in it, much to her delight. It takes a moment to disentangle the glass from the stand as you do, and as you do, the liquid inside sloshes a little. You're right in assuming that it's pretty thick, not quite syrup level of thick, but close. You sniff at it, and your senses tingle. It smells sweet, not cloying, but actually pretty pleasant. Some note in its scent feels familiar, like a spice you can't pick out the name of. It's not vanilla or honey, it's something. Curiosity builds inside you so strongly that you have no choice but to take a sip. It's probably unwise to drink mystery drinks given to you by demons, but Solix did say that you're all protected here, and you think that at the very least, he's unlikely to let you die, because the rest of your friends would probably be upset with you for him. So, you drink. Your unnamed drink washes over your tongue as you take a first experimental sip. Your senses light up for a moment. You're sure that you know this feeling, but as you try to place it, you fail to describe it. It's like the words and memories just slip out of your grip before you can properly work out what you have. What is it? Rose asks. I have no idea, you admit. Hey, let me try, June says. She's already reaching across the table to get to you. Leaning over it, in fact. Needless to say, you hand your mystery glass over to her, and she sips it with her eyes closed. Oh, June says. Do you know what it is? I can't place it, you say. It feels like it's just on the tip of your tongue. Like you might bolt awake in the middle of the night, suddenly remembering the name of whatever it is. It's so close to you can taste it. Well, not literally taste it right now, because June is having another sip. It's weird, dude. June notes and hands the glass back to you. The glass catches in the light as she passes it to you. It has a weird blue sheen to it. Not the drink within, but the glass. You hadn't noticed it before. You go to put it back in the holder, considering that maybe you're meant to drink it from that rather than taking it out like this. You're not sure how it happens, but you fuck it up somehow. You swear you put the glass right back in the stand how you got it, but the moment you let it go, the thing slips right out and spills all over the table, smashing loudly on the floor. You hiss between your teeth, certain that if you hadn't bitten down on the sound, it would have been far too loud. Oh, shit. You groan and hop out, but no, the glass is a total loss. Wow, Carcat, we can't take you anywhere, Dave teases you. Not twice, anyway, Rose agrees, and with a laugh. Right. Yeah, sorry, shit. I should clean this up. You apologize. You're directing your apology to Solix of all people because this is his party, and he invited you with him, and here you are smashing drinks. Not your fault. It's all up your sleeve, you know. Blech. It's not your fault. It's all up your sleeve, you know. Solix points out. You're pretty sure there are enough splatters of your drink all the way up your shirt sleeve. I'll go find a bathroom. You sigh and get up. Downstairs, Solix informs you. You nod and you're about to look for napkins of some kind on the table to try to clean up the glass, but when you look down to assess the devastation, you see two of the limps already cleaning it up for you. Oh, I'm sorry, you tell them, and they chatter at you. You don't think they sound angry. Cautiously, you step around them, trying careful not to step on their tiny tails or anything with your comparatively big feet. You tell everyone you'll be right back and walk to the stairs that you came up. As you reach the bouncer on the stairs, you pause. I'll be right back. Is that okay? You ask at him, but all he does is grunt to you. You have a suspicion that this is a bouncer thing rather than a demon thing. Seeing as he's not stopping you, you slip past him and keep going down to the other stairs. There must have been some sound-altering magic on the upper floor, because the lower you go, the more you can feel the heady pulse of the music around you. Slowing down, you watch the crowd as everyone cuts loose. You wonder what it's normally like for demons to be around each other. You imagine it must be pretty cutthroat, so a party must be a nice change to be among your own kind in a safe environment. Of course, the obvious question is, why don't they have these rules all the time? But it's probably not your place to point that out. It's probably pretty speciesist, actually. You reach the bottom of the staircase and find the parts of your clothing start to fluoresce. The laces on your shoes, the button on your shirt, and the drink splashed up all up on your arm all glow. There's even something glowing through your shirt. You roll your sleeve down and see red and blue twinned around your arm with a delicate demonic script between the colors. You start walking, sticking to the wall, on the logic that the bathrooms will branch off from the main room, so it's your best bet. As you go, you pull your phone out and Google the demonic ath symbols for 3, the number of questions you have left. You remember roughly where the symbol changed, and sure enough, as you pass the bar, you find the symbol and quietly laugh to yourself. You really did get an extra question, not use it up. Oh, no worries, Lunarlet. Have a nice night. Good night, good night. Tucking your phone away, you spot the sign for the bathrooms and end up mildly surprised that there's only one room. You suppose, given how different everyone's biology must be, that separating based on something like gender seems a little silly. It'd make more sense to separate people by size. At least that's what you think as you head to a sink, only to see a giant 10-foot beast of a demon come out of a locked stall that grows and shrinks to a size to accommodate them leaving. Well, fair enough then. The quest to get all your drink out of your shirt is probably fruitless, but you can at least rinse it a little. The door opens and 2 women come in. Demons, but about as humanoid as Solux. One looks like a slick professional woman, and the other one looks more like a party girl. See the blacklist for this party? It's crazy, the party girl demon exclaims as she walks in. It's not like it's surprising, though. Those people all have pretty obvious alliances, and it's not as if anyone's ever had any doubt as where Solux's loyalty lies. The professional lady sighs and leans in the mirror to reapply her lipstick. Well, no duh, but the kid can't go around pissing people off like that. I know they won't know unless someone tells them, but he blacklisted Jane, Mina, and Snowman. That's gonna come back to bite him. The girl tuts. You are 100% eavesdropping now. This part of your sleeve has had water on it for ages. Better pretend a little harder and be doing that and not listening. Eesh, Amina loves a party. She'll definitely tell if she gets denied. The professional demon lady agrees with a wince. Yeah, why risk it? I know he's young and doesn't know better, but he's not stupid. He's been hanging out all this time and then boom, huge party? Why? The girl asks. You think he had a death wish with... Oh shit. The professional woman stares at you and you realize you've been caught. Sorry, I just spilled my drink, you say hastily, squeezing water out of your sleeve. The 2 women stare for a moment and then bolt past you before you can even look. You feel that sensation, like in the library when you were in the hall. Someone right behind you. You turn expecting Solux, and for a split second you think it is him. Dark hair, gray skin, 4 horns. It's not Solux. You jerk back away from the guy who was right behind you. Unnervingly similar teeth bared. Messy hair covers half his face, blocking his eyes from view, but it does nothing to disguise the malice on his face. You start and he grabs your wrist. He jerks your wet arm towards him and a deep menacing growl builds in his chest. He shoves your wet sleeve up and twists your arm so he can better see the bicolored text glowing there softly under the strange lighting of the club. A girl peers over his shoulder, looking at your arm as well. Her skin is in human peachy tones, but the pointy little tips of horns on her head and red glowing eyes ping you as demonic through and through. What did you do? Not Solux growls at you. Let go of me, you demand, trying to yank your arm back, but having no luck at all. I got you, babe, the girl says and slinks past him. She's wearing a skin-tight metallic teal dress that shows off her cleavage and every curve on her body. A body which, honestly, you'd say was photoshopped if not for existing right next to you. She leans forward, reaching to cup your face with her hand, which does flattering things to her chest. Hey there, cutie. She all but purrs at you. You yank your eyes upward and stare at her impossibly glossy lips. Wow, her hands on your face are so warm. You mumble, hypnotized with the way her lip gloss glistens as she smiles for you and shows off perfectly white teeth. How'd you get that deal on your arm, huh? You can tell me, the girl says, She winks at you, her glowing red eyes edged with thick dark lashes and glittering aqua eyeshadow. She's so pretty. Unbiden, your mind flicks to Dave and then to Solux, and your thoughts start to churn a little faster. Let me go, you croak, tugging on your arm. The girl pouts at you and slinks a little closer. This is off. She's trying to do something to you. You look over her, and yes, she's so gorgeous. You feel like you might die just being near her, but you're also slightly aware that this isn't your thought, or isn't wholly yours. She looks really human and distressingly attractive. That sort of quirky, e-girl, internet babe kind of vibe. She's attractive to you, and she looks mostly human. Her small horns, delicate tail, and glowing eyes seem almost like an exotic demon costume rather than actual features. She could be human, which is why she's so easily appealing. You think about carnivorous plants or the fish with the lures. Her appearance is a bait, which means if you find her appealing, then you're the prey here. She's a succubus. The knowledge of that wraps around your mind and steals your resolve. Let go of me. If you don't, you might end up hurting me, and I've told it's against the rules. You tell the guy who looks like Solux. You're trying to keep your voice firm. You don't want them thinking that you're scared. Truthfully, you aren't. Freaked out, of course, but not really scared. Solux might be an asshole, but you're pretty sure he's not trying to get you killed. If he says his guests are safe, then you believe him. At the very least, you believe him enough to keep your cool for now. How did you get this? The guy repeats with a snarl and jerks your arm up before your face, putting the glowing text on your arm at eye level. It showed up when I made a deal with Solux. Let me go, you snap. You pull on your arm, but this guy is way stronger than you. The kid wouldn't make a deal like that willingly. What did you do to make him? The guy demands. I didn't do anything to make him, you shout back. What did you do to my baby? The girl growls and you whip your head to stare at her. Are you his mother? You blurt out. She doesn't look older than Solux, really, or if so, not by more than a year or two, but she's a demon, so who knows? The red-eyed girl jerks back in surprise and stares at you in obviously shocked. What do I look like? She splutters. There's a familiar sound behind you. You've never been so relieved to hear it, or to smell artificial apples in your life. The fuck are you doing? Let Kim go. I was wondering where your dumbass had got to. Solux reaches over your shoulder and slaps the demon's hands off you. Baby! The succubus cries out and scoops Solux up into her arms, pressing a glossy smooch to his cheeks. Ah, Latula, put me down! Solux yelps and tries to squirm free. What happened to you? I haven't seen you in so long. And this deal! The demon, presumably named Latula, but says in between kisses on Solux's horrified face. With a final hiss like an angry cat, Solux poofs out of her arms and lands behind you again, rubbing his face. Solux, what the hell? The other demon's face freezes up and his jaw shuts with an audible click. Whoa, what? It's none of your business. We're going. Solux tells them both, but the other demons push past you and this time grab Solux. Oh, no. You're gonna tell me what the fuck's going on. What's with him? That deal? What the fuck? He says loudly. He snaps a finger and the two of them get encased in a giant soap bubble with blue and red sheen. They're arguing inside and you can't hear a word, and their mouths are blurred like they're being censored on TV. What? Solux, you call out and touch the hard surface of the bubble. Solux doesn't react to hearing his name, so you can only assume that he can't hear you, or that he can hear you as well as you can hear him, which is to say, not at all. What's wrong with you? Latula asks slowly. She doesn't seem to be insulting you. At least, she doesn't seem like her intent is insulting you, regardless of how insulting her question actually is. She seems like she's trying to work you out. Nothing. What's he doing? He can't hurt him, right? You ask as a worry mounts in you. You slam your bald fist on the bubble, and though it gets the attention of the two demons inside, it doesn't do anything. In fact, the other demon is now pointing at you and seems to be yelling at Solux. You don't have your memory, do you? Latula asks carefully. No, nothing before the event. How do you know that? You ask, taking your eyes off the bubble for a moment. I can tell. How do you know Solux? Why should I tell you that? I could ask you the same. How do you know him? You called him your baby earlier. You snap at her. Latula pulls a face, but you're not budging. Now that she's not actively doing whatever magic, she just looks like a person. Attractive, sure, but your IQ hasn't dropped through the ground just because you're talking to her now. He's not my baby like humans have them. I mean, that's totally gross. But he's all itty-bitty. Me and Matuna's my mate sprit, have known him since he was a little freshly made. I just see him and want to pinch his cheeks. He's so cute. Tuna wouldn't hurt him. He just wants to know what's up with the jacked-up deal you have. So how about you tell? She explains and wiggles her eyebrows at the end. You glance at the clear argument going on in the bubble. It doesn't look like it's going to end soon. There's not really anything to say, you tell her. Although you'll probably skip the part about tricking an extra question out of him. You look from Latula and back to the bubble. He freaked me out, and my roommate is his friend's twin. Well, he's friends with her, but Dave was the one who got him to agree to having him answer some questions as an apology of sorts. He was refusing to explain why he was being a dick, so, I just have a few questions left, that's all, you explain. Within the bubble, Solok seems to yell something, then immediately cover his mouth and look away. Matuna's shoulders fall, and his body language looks surprised. Solok's, on the other hand, doesn't look happy at all. The bubble pops, and you fumble towards Solux, who spins around and starts to march out the bathroom. Solux, wait, I didn't mean... Matuna calls after him. Leave me alone! Solux snaps and pulls you out of the room. What was that all about? You ask him as he takes you back onto the main floor of the club. Doesn't matter. He grumbles and keeps pushing you. Stop shoving me, fuckface. Also, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. You snap at him. Obviously you are. It's the only way to get your slow ass to move already. Come on. Solux groans. Despite his assertions, you don't need pushing or pulling about the place, and by the time you get to the staircase, the hand he has on your arm isn't really doing anything. Are you okay? Those two seemed mad about our question thing, and Lutula called you her baby, you say. Solux's face goes through about 3 different varieties of mortification and horror before he's able to summon words. She didn't, did she? Solux chokes out. Oh, she did. She made it very clear she wasn't your actual mother, you begin. Demons don't reproduce like that, Solux interrupts. Either way, did I get you in trouble back there? You ask him, finishing up what you'd started trying to say earlier. Solux pauses at the midway point between the 2 staircases, right where you came in. He glares at you sharply, but you're not going to flinch away from it. If you apologize, he starts threateningly. Apologize for what? Being better than you, a literal demon, at working out how to make a deal? I'm not sorry for that. That's hilarious. I would feel bad if it had actual negative consequences for either of us outside of me making you look like a dumbass, though, you say. Solux shakes his head and sighs. He at least looks less irritated, though. That's the thing he has with pity, isn't it? He can't stand it from you for some reason. It's not that. I outrank them both, so it's not like I can get in trouble with them. They're both older than me is all, and we're friends. They both taught me cool shit back in the day, and it's sort of like a little like Dave and Rose, I guess, Solix explains. They're like older siblings to you, you say? Sure, if you really want to be human-centric about it. Demon relationships are complicated. They're mate spirits, so it's not as if I'm pale with either of them, but I trust them not to stab me in the back, and they give me shit about it, shit about what happens to me. Solix tells you. Those sure were a lot of words that didn't really mean anything to me, but I think I get it. It was basically an overprotective family problem. They were upset because I got such a good deal out of you, huh? You tease him. I should throw you off this balcony, Solix threatens you. It's the most casual murder threat you've ever received. Pretty sure that would break the whole not hurting your guests thing. You grin at him. You know you're right because he genuinely looks frustrated. You can feel a little thing of water, hold on. Carcat can't resist playing back with him. I love their little banter. What are you even doing? You're trying not to make things complicated and get on with your mutual friends, but it's like the moment the two of you exchange more than a few sentences together, you get dragged into being petty idiots. At least he's not gone for your throat this time, although the sharp smile he's pointing your way suggests that he might. That only applies in here, and you have to leave this party sooner or later, Solix says quietly as he leans in. We're back to you stalking me again, then, you say and push past him. I don't stalk you, Solix shouts indignantly and rushes up the stairs after you. Wait, this way, Solix says as you get to the top of the stairs. He grabs your elbow and pulls you off to the side. At your table, Rose gives you a curious look, but you guess you're not going over there because Solix is dragging you some other way. You made it, Solix says brightly. Turning to look at the table Solix just dragged you, leaves you looking at a demon who, even to your eyes, seems powerful. She's at least 6.5 foot tall without the horns. Her eyes are flaming red, and she's dressed in a vibrant teal and red business suit. To her side are several other smartly dressed demons, including one of the women who ran from the bathroom when Matuna and Latula, that's so saying them back to back, when Matuna and Latula showed up earlier. Of course, I'd never turn down an invitation to a good party, Solux, the woman says with a smile. This is Carcat. We go to Salem University together. Carcat, this is Red Glare. Solux introduces you. Oh, it's very nice to meet you, you say awkwardly, but she smiles all the same. I'll admit I had kind of an ulterior motive for asking you here. Soluk starts, and Red Glare smiles with a lot of fang. We both have classes together, and we have to take xenobiology. It's mandatory. Look what we're being taught and tested on, though. Soluk tosses a folder of paper that he got from somewhere onto the table. Curiously, Red Glare flicks them open and looks. The smartly dressed people to her side lean in and try to read as well. Several long seconds of slightly muted music later, Red Glare speaks. Mandatory classes, she says slowly. The people at her side pull notebooks and pens out. Mandatory, for everyone. You can't take the more advanced classes in anything if you don't pass this one. And it's not just demons either, Solux agrees. Does he skip me a value of their degree and student fees before the event? The number of students who have passed that class each year, who's teaching it, and how long they've been teaching it. Redgar lists off, and one demon hurriedly starts writing. There's precedent for this if we spin it up as exclusion. Another pipes up. No, you wanted it libel and slander charges in there too, multiplied into class action. A different demon agrees. I'm not saying all the best lawyers are demons, but we're good with rules and technicalities. Red Glare is the best, and she trains the best lawyers there is, human and demon alike. She's been doing this for ages. This is going to be fun for her, Soluk says under his breath. But how can she appear in court like that, unless she's only been doing it since the event? You whisper back. We only let you think we can't completely shapeshift. It's a fake weakness. Okay, well, in fairness, we can't all do it, but she can be as human-looking as she wants for a good stretch of time, Solux grins. You open your mouth to protest. Everyone knows that demons always look like demons, but well, that's what they want you to think, isn't it? That's evil, you hiss in Solux beams. Thanks, I'll leave you to that. I'll leave that with you, Red Glare. Have fun, Solux says as you pull away. Oh, I will. Red Glare cackles and goes back to talking with her assistants. So, you're gonna get our teacher fired? That's your plan? You ask Solux. That man's job is the least of his worries. Red Glare's gonna have a field day with this. Move your ass, he tells you and shoves you towards the table with your friends once more. Don't shove me, you tell him sharply. Oh, Solux says and shoves you into the seat again. You land on the bench cushion of the booth perfectly fine, and Jade even steadies you. You're a little worried as you put your hand down that you're going to accidentally pull her super long hair by pinning it to the seat, but it works out fine. Jerk, you accuse Solux, but he slides into the booth on the other side, calm as you like. I see you found my roommate. I would hate to have been forced to find another. Rose smiles. Thanks, Rose, you tell her without enthusiasm. That's Rose for, I actually really like him. Don't worry, Dave chirps in. How dare you give my secrets away? I will have my revenge for this, Rose tells him in an entirely calm voice. Hey, Rose had a question about demon sex, June says loudly, somewhat startling another demon walking by the booth. Really? You've always been pretty set in refusing to ask about that, despite Dave trying to bait you into it for years. Something about refusing to stoop to our level or something, Solux grins at her. Purely academic curiosity, I assure you, Rose shrugs. Go on, then, Solux says with the shitty grin of his. He's so smug, and it's not even at you, but it's still irritating. Can you have sex with other demons? Rose asks him. Wait, are you asking if he can mechanically bone anyone? Or are you asking if he can talk any other demons into sleeping with him? Because that seemed like a big ask. Dave interrupts. The first. I dare say that even if Solux could do the second, he probably wouldn't want to. I certainly can think of many humans I would want to have sex with, Rose says. You're asking because of how so many of us here look so different? Because we're not really all the same species in a way that makes any sense. Solux guesses, and Rose nods. You know we can shapeshift, he points out. Yes, but I recall you telling me once that your shapeshifting abilities are limited to other versions of yourself. So an older or younger version of yourself, a taller or shorter version, and that wouldn't solve all the potential problems that could crop up. At least I'm assuming that demon genitalia is more varied than the human varieties. Certainly the internet has led me to believe so, Rose says. June said Solux was your age, and that he was younger before. But if he can change his age, then what if he's younger? What if he was younger, just so he'd match his friend's age? You're back to not knowing how old he is again. Although Latula made it clear that he was younger than her and Matuna. I get it. Humans are boring and you all look the same. You also can't tell vital shit about people just by looking at them, so you assume shit based on unrelated things. Demons are just better than that. Solux sighs. Modest too, you interrupt. Solux flips you off and keeps talking. Demons fucking other demons isn't a big deal. I mean, it is socially because you have to trust the person, but what you make yourself look at like at the time is just up to the people involved. And sure, everyone's got like a default setting they're wandering around with all the time, but that's just, I don't know, what you like best. It's not that deep. Besides, you know it's not how we produce anyway, so it doesn't matter, Solix finishes explaining. Well, how do you make new demons? You talked about having lineages before, but you didn't explain what that meant. Jade points out. If you make a new demon on your own, which is the normal way to do it, you can only make one as strong or less strong than you are. Really, rarely people will work together for that, but it's usually for something hyper-specific like dodging some kind of prophecy or some shit. As far as I know, you take something of yourself and will it into being a new person. You have to give something up. Usually it's willpower, or memory, or a minor ability, Solix explains. That sounds like half-remembered sex ed to me, you accuse him, and the expression on his face tells you it's precisely that. Well, excuse me for having never done it myself. I don't need to I don't want to or need to make new demons, or I don't need or want to, and making new demons happens really rarely. We don't die of old age, so we're not at like mammals are. I mean, even the imps you've seen around here, who are super common and really easy to make, aren't made that often, Solix says defensively. Well, as much as I love hearing about everyone speculate, or as much as I love hearing everyone speculate about your junk and whether or not you're someone's baby daddy, we're at a party and I really want to go see what's going on with the music setup down there, Dave declares and drums his hands on the table. Sorry, I got distracted. Go for it, you're allowed to do whatever. You can get on stage and look at all their stuff if you like, Solix tells him brightly. Aw, hell yes. Rose, move, I gotta go. Dave cheers. He shoves his sister along the booth, booting out June as well. Well, since I'm up, June starts, her hands on her hips. You're welcome, Dave cuts in. I may as well go dance. You guys should come with, June continues over Dave. Yeah. I might actually get a new drink since I ended up wearing my last one, you say, as Jade eagerly bounces out to join Jade and Rose, who seemingly is being roped into the dancing thing. You're just saying that so you don't have to dance, Solix says quietly, so only you hear it. I don't see you offering to get up and dance. Ah, party host duties. Gotta go socialize with the important people I invited so I don't cause offense. Very inscrutable demon social protocol, Solix shrugs. It's a very what can you do kind of shrug. Excuse me. Do you know how I know you're lying? You ask him, leaning in. Solix makes a curious sound and awaits your next words. Your mouth is moving, and words are coming out, you tell him. Solix smiles like a bear trap and turns the expression on the girls because Dave has long since fucked off thanks to the siren song of unfettered music tech access. Carcat says he wants to dance, Solix announced, bright and cheerful, and promptly shoves you out of the booth. Sorry, I love that line. Do you want to know how I know you're lying? Your mouth is moving and words are coming out. I literally love them. I love them so much. I love Carcat so much. Oh my god. I literally love them. Oh, my fucking beloveds. Oh, your mouth is moving and words are coming out. Oh my god. Fae are very interesting creatures. Magical, strong, tough, and more than capable, in Jade's case, of manhandling you down to the stairs to the dance floor. Rose doesn't seem overly keen on dancing, but does seem keen on watching you suffer, and June is far too into the whole thing to be of any help at all. You're going to dance, whether you like it or not. You don't think yourself as an especially graceful person, nor an attractive one. Aside from in your home when you're cleaning and listening to music, you don't actually dance, ever. You went to school, of course. They had dances, but you never actually went because no one liked you. Even now, being on the dance floor gives you that same feeling that everyone must be staring at you and laughing behind your back. But you're not the only one, it seems. I've never danced with other people before, Jade laughs as you all rush to the dance floor. You'll be fine, Rose insists and grabs her hand. Rose spins around so the two of them have a little space, and Rose starts to dance. Jade copies her, and with Rose encouraging her, the two are soon having fun. I don't know about this, you say uneasily. June has her hand on your wrist, keeping you with her as she encourages Jade. You should relax, you're so highly strung, Carcat. June shouts over the music and judges you into dancing with her. I'm not highly strung, you protest. You so are. Why do you care so much how you look dancing, or if you're good at it? We're your friends, we don't care, June points out as she leans in a little to be heard over the music. As she moves, she puts her hands on your side like she's trying to guide you into moving with her, into dancing with her, the sneak. And all these people, you retort. Oh, a bunch of demons you don't know? Some famous people? They don't know you, you don't know them. Who cares? Have fun, June laughs. You never really thought about it that way. This crowd makes you feel uncomfortably observed, but June is right. These people don't know you, and you won't see them again. Solix might make fun of you for how you dance, but he makes fun of you for a lot of things, and thus far you've been winning in that contest of animosity. You'd be a little wary dancing in front of Dave, be it because as inadvisable as it might be, you do want him to like you. More than you should. That whole thing is a recipe for disaster, but it makes you feel a little better that he isn't around. So yeah, you're not a good dancer. You're pretty sure of that. But there's only so long your system can sustain worry for when the people around you are happy, and nothing has suddenly gone wrong like you feel it will. You start to loosen up a little, which makes dancing a little easier, which makes it more fun, which makes you relax more. It's the opposite of the usual thing that happens, where things snowball out of control and get worse. Right now, they're getting better. The music thumps. It's loud and bassy enough that you feel it in your chest, and you have a feeling you'll all be shouting to each other on the way home because your hearing will be a little dulled. You get to dance with all three of your friends. At one point, you fall against Rose, laughing as Jade excitedly throws up June a few feet in the air. It's dumb and fun. When you're pretty sure your nice shirt is stuck to the back with sweat, the four of you go to the bar to get something to drink and cool down. Oh, I know the perfect thing. Let me. June exclaims and rushes ahead. She leans over and gets one of the imps to do the strange touching thing to see what you want thing on her. You're pretty curious what you're going to get. Get anything for me? You turn and see Dave slipping past the two demons who sidestep out of his way. June's just ordering, you explain, still a little out of breath. Hey, June, Dave yells, and June looks over and waves. She's still talking to the imps, so you guess she gets another drink on that order. This place is so cool. I gotta see all the music equipment they have, and I gotta go up on the catwalk and play with the lighting, Dave gushes. You eye the stage. It's got a mean-looking bouncer on it, and you're pretty dubious that anyone could get up there, but it seems like being Solix's personal guest has some perks. Solix probably didn't intend on Dave playing with the lights, but that's his problem. You'd kind of like to know how the outlines of the party etiquette, or you'd kind of like to know the outlines of the party etiquette for demons. Solix just ghosted you briefly over the topic before. They're sending them all up to the table. Come on, June tells you. Your group heads back upstairs as you walk. Your group heads back upstairs, and as you walk, you pick your shirt away from your body a little. You're so hot. Dancing is hard work. Solix is still at your table, but he's joined by Latula and Matuna from before. As you come closer, you just catch part of their conversation. Well, that's exactly why I've been trying to tell you to stay out of the spotlight. I was trying to work out where it was all going, Solix says. So, you don't even know? No, Slick and his crew were... Oh, hey. Solix notices you all approaching and cuts his conversation off. Hi again, Latula chirps. Hi, you reply flatly. Sorry about before, right, Tuna? Latula says and looks at Matuna a little sharply. Oh yeah, lots of things that shouldn't have happened went and happened, Matuna says. Get fucked, Solix snaps at him. I'll take it up with Latula. Matuna retorts and sticks his tongue out. Correction, tongues. He has two, not a split one like Solix. A whoosh of orange light and a whole tray of cloudy greenish drinks appear on the table. Aw, yeah, I got them to try to recreate my dad's mint lemonade. I used to have it all the time in the summer with him, June explains and grabs a glass up. She takes a sip and sighs happily. It must be right then. Aw, hell yeah, that stuff was awesome. Dave nods and grabs a glass for himself. The rest of you take drinks from the tray, and sure enough, the mint lemonade is refreshing as can be. It has that real homemade taste to it as well. This is way better than some commercially available drink. I don't think I'd like mint lemonade. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of mint. I like lemonade, though, so maybe it'd work out. It does sound interesting, at least. It probably exists. I mean, obviously it exists, and that it's being brought up. It sounds like an interesting mix of flavors. Alright, well, I want to dance and maybe get some cool photos here for Instagram, Latula says as she hops off the booth. Heartbreaker. Matuna sighs, but his expression is utterly smitten. You wonder how that works. Solix indicated that they were some kind of relationship, but the words he used meant nothing to you. It must be a demon thing. Still, you wonder how that works with her being a succubus and all. He gets out of the booth and slides after her, so your group piles back in again. Later, baby, Latula winks at Solix. I'm an adult, get lost, he shouts, throwing his hands up in the air. Matuna and Latula giggle together and walk off. With whatever that was over, you get back in the booth again. This time, you're on the end next to Dave, feeling especially self-conscious about how hot and sweaty you must be. You looked like you were having fun, Dave remarks around his straw. You saw that? You say in muted horror. I was on the lighting, remember? Dave reminds you. Oh god. Were you messing with the lights? Solix asks, although his expression tells you he suspects tells you that he suspects he knows the answer already. No comment, Dave says. What kind of demons were there talking with you? Rose asks, interrupting Dave and Solok's bullshit hour to ask a reasonable question. You're all geared up to listen to the answer about what Matuna is when a strange feeling steals over you. It's as if a film of something just laid over the world, brushing up against your soul. A subtle layer of something that shouldn't be there and shouldn't be around. You sit up a little straighter and look around. At a table next to you, an argument is starting to break out, and though it's not turned violent yet, there's a lot of angry words being thrown about. From your position, you can see a slice of the dance floor, and two human girls are also boiling into an argument. It looks like hair pulling and slapping are less than a minute away. Something's wrong, you mumble. What? Solok asks. I don't know, something just doesn't feel... You trail off. You don't have the vocabulary for this. What can you tell him? That the world suddenly feels like an oil slick in an ocean? A thin layer of something terrible poisoning what unsuspecting things lay beneath? Solok stands up and looks around. He closes his larger set of eyes and scans the room just with the smaller ones. The larger sets snap open again, and he looks with horror across his face. Oh, fuck, we need to go now. I need to get you out of here. Solok mutters and looks around desperately. I thought you said we were safe in here, Jade asks. Ordinarily, yeah, she can't get in. I blacklisted her, but she's obviously outside. Maybe I could... Solok says as he gets out of his booth. His words are cut off by a shout and a bang from below as the front door to the club explodes inwards. The figure that comes through the door is easily 10 foot tall, over 11 if you count the spiraling horns. He turns and faces the upper level that you're on, his glowing red eyes locking onto your table. Of course that could happen. Solok groans and takes a few steps forward. The demon on the stairs tries to stop him, but the huge man reaches out with a swing of a long arm, smashes his head in with a club of some kind. The other demons look around you are reacting in horror and getting to their feet as well. Kurlaz, you're not thinking straight. You need to stop, Solok tells him in a firm voice, as if this demon doesn't look like he could snap Solok in half with a thought. The huge hulking demon moves, his hands in quick but confusing motions. Sign language, you realize. And that's because his mouth is horrifically stitched shut. Hello, new starring role in your nightmares. Not happening. Get out of here before I make you. You've already gone too far by busting in here. If you weren't Mituna's Moirail, you'd be dead already, so beat it. Solok snarls. His body is right between your table and the other demons, but you can still see him well enough to be drowned in dread when he jabs his finger right in your direction. This is bad, Dave breathes right behind you, his hand on the small of your back. There's a sound like a growl, but not from any animal you've heard. It's like someone took the sound of an angle grinder and slowed it way down to be low, harsh, and metallic. Right before your eyes, Solok's body shifts. He was taller than you already, but now he's easily matching this intruding demon's height. His clothes shift to something skin-tight, black and yellow. His arms are bare, and you can see how his skin now is just black, but an absolute mess of old scars. You're reminded of pictures you've seen of old sharks that are just crisscrossed with the marks of battles past. Solok's mouth opens, his teeth longer and visible now. The threatening noise gets louder still. Red and blue lightning run over his body, arcing between his fingers and shooting up his spine. The other demon is signing something again. Not anymore, Kurlaz. This is how it works now, so accept it or I'll unmake you. It's not as if your maker would care. Solok snarls, his voice deep and menacing. Kurlaz goes to swing at Solok with one of his clubs, but as you see the feint for what it is, dark magic curls around his other hand, and as Solok goes to defend himself, Kurlaz intends to attack you. A bolt of deep purple flares and shoots towards you. Without thinking, you push Dave back behind you. It's not like your small, fleshy body is going to stop it, but it's a stupid reflex. Solok doesn't catch the bolt, but redirects it, smashing it through the ceiling of the club mirage. Kurlaz, what are you doing? Another voice shouts. It's Matuna on the stairs. Kurlaz swings his terrifying club back through the air and misses Matuna by a hair, thanks to Latula pulling him back. With a feral noise, Solok launches himself at Kurlaz and knocks him back, riding his body down the stairs past the remains of the unfortunate bouncer. You hurry out of the booth with your friends right behind you. June shoves her way to the front as you all rush to the stairs. The new skylight of the roof must be letting the weather in, because the wind is picked up and large chunks of June's hair slap you in the face. You cough and disentangle yourself, finally free to look past her. Down on the landing, you watch as Kurlaz kicks Solok into a wall, and the skin-tight thing he's wearing frays and kicks up with purple smoke right where he connected. Behind Solok, the wall warps and neon magic rushes through the metal in fractal patterns. Solok's eyes burn like road flares, and all at once a burst of light erupts from them. There's a screech, an unholy, inhuman sound, and then the light stops. Where Kurlaz stood, there's nothing but ash and a rolled-up strip of paper on the ground. Oh, shit, you whisper. You're still not fully focused. You're still not fully up on demon physiology or anything, but you're pretty sure that dude is fucking dead. Solix looks up at you, but he doesn't seem focused on you in particular. His gaze seems to be near you, lower down the stairs, at Matuna and Latula. Matuna looks completely shaken, his mouth open and his hands are trembling. He was going to... Matuna, I had to. Solix whispers. It's so strange to hear his voice sounding so gentle when his body is so big and frightening now. Was it worth it? Matuna snarls at him. I didn't know he was going to do this. I had to stop him. I warned him. Solix protests. Matuna swallows and Latula squeezes his shoulder. Just go. The club's hard to get into even for her, but he's dead, so just go. Solix's eyes widen and he gestures to your group. Come on, we gotta get out of here, he insists. June fists her hand in front of your shirt and rushes down the stairs. She has Rose's wrist in her other hand. As you reach him, Solix grabs Dave up in his arms and then lifts Jade up too. What is that? You ask as June pulls you past the ashes and paper. Don't look at it, Solix barks at you. He gets ahead and starts to lead June through the lower level of the club and into the back room. He kicks the door shut after you with a sweep of one hand, and all the furniture in the room slams into the wall. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I keep burping. I'm sorry. Making a clear space on the floor, he drops Jade and Dave down on the floor and marches into the middle of the room, still in his larger form. What was that guy's problem? Who was he? What was on that paper? Rose demands. I need to concentrate, Rose, later. I gotta get this right. Everyone get in here. Solix orders you all, pointing in the middle of the room. I want answers first, you insist, and Rose nods. Here's an answer. If we don't get out of here ASAP, we're all in deep shit. Solix snaps. Can't you teleport us out of here? Dave suggests. Not like I normally can do. No, I'm trying a different route now. Solix answers. What? Why can't you do it? You ask worriedly. Is it something to do with this place? Solix covers his face with his hands and gives a frustrated little scream. Finally, he just grabs you and Rose and drops you in the middle. Be annoying right there if you have to. Just don't move, he says. Solix straightens up to his full towering height and holds both his hands out. A red and blue circle etches itself around you, and writing in strange scripts like the stuff on your arm start to fill it. You're all reading over it like you know any of the language at all. Well, Dave and Rose might if their mother is such an expert. I think that's right. Fuck, longhand, writing, casting. I just need... Solix snaps his finger and a wiggly symbol lights up in blue off to your right. Solix kneels down and presses his hand to the ground. Karkat, you're okay with me getting everyone out of here, right? If I don't, shit's gonna go really bad, so you agree with this, right? Solix asks, glancing up at you from where he's knelt on the ground. Why are you asking me? You say in a slightly strangled voice. Yes or no? Solix snaps. Yes, you yell at him. He recoils slightly from the sound, and the rest of your friends clap all their hands to their ears. Oh, great. Solix slaps his hand on the ground, and the circle bursts into life. This isn't like the port on the way to the university. This is like being catapulted through the stratosphere, air rushing through every atom of your being, and when you appear elsewhere, you stumble as if the wind just changed direction on you suddenly. You're standing in a bedroom. Messy cables stretch across the floor, and rain beats softly on a sloped window. A bird is nestled up against the glass in an attempt to shelter from the worst of the rain. A string of photographs runs from one end of the room to the other, and a shelf of a jar gleams in the dim light. Oh, fuck, it worked. We're good. Solix sighs in relief and shrinks back down to his normal size, one hand held to his heart. We're back home, Rose says in surprise. Your home? Jade asks. Yeah, my room. Welcome to my room, I guess. Dave laughs a little awkwardly and gestures around. Unauthorized transportation of multiple people like that shouldn't be possible. You weren't using a charm or a recall spell. That was a teleportation circle. You also shouldn't be able to appear somewhere without there being a matching circle on the other side, Rose tells Solix, despite that being a thing that just happened. Rose? Ullman's voice calls from the outside of the room. Rose freezes and outside lightning cracks, flooding the room with light for just a moment. Stay here. Don't make a sound, Rose hisses and turns and hurries to the door. Mother, you hear Rose say through the door. How did you... the woman starts to say. Solix took me back. You should go to bed. It's late. I'm going to go as well, Rose tells her. I just heard you. I was working on an experiment in the lab, the woman says in response. Of course, Rose says. Distilling down the principles of magic, I'm very close to a breakthrough, she goes on. Go to bed, Mother. Rose sighs. That's Dave's room, the woman points out. His bed is made, mine isn't. He doesn't mind, Rose tells her. Rose's mother's voice dips too quiet for you to hear it, but you do hear the sound of heels on polished floor outside. Several long seconds pass before Rose ducks back into the room. Dave, Solix, and June all sigh in relief. We need to stay here. This is the safest place on Earth right now. Tomorrow, Solix starts. I have work in the morning. You blurt out and Solix stares at you for a moment. Tomorrow morning I can get us back to Salem. It's smart to lay low here where nothing can find us. Let a lot of this blow over. Break up our trail, and then Carcat can go to work, I suppose, Solix says. I think you need to answer a few questions, mister, Jade tells him. Yeah, you tell him, Jade. Dave and Rose both shush her. Mom can't know we're here, Dave hisses at her. Why not? Jade asks, as Rose pushes past her to get to Dave's desk. She snatches up a Sharpie and heads to the door. You watch as she starts to draw a familiar sight. Hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's the silencing spell, or silencing charm on our doors in the dorm, you protest. You haven't passed the required classes to be allowed to just write out random spells. Can't I? I'll be sure to see how that goes, Rose says dryly. Rose finishes drawing the sign and smacks it, giving a flash of lavender light. Curiously, she steps outside and shuts the door. You knock on it, but there's no reaction. When Rose opens it again, Solix nods. Alright, that's done. Rose sighs as she closes the door behind her again. That's cool, Rose. Just graffiti my walls and door without asking. No big deal. Dave grumbles. Thank you, I shall. Rose replies sweetly. Well, now that that's taken care of, I think Solix should answer some questions. Jade insists. She's not letting this go. Feel free to think that. I may or may not answer. Solix shrugs and hops up to casually float in the air. Dave walks past him and opens up the window. The little black bird there caws in moments, a whole flock of them are crowding the windowsill. Dave reaches down and pulls a paper bag from his desk drawer and starts feeding them. Who was the guy that you killed? Jade asks. Kurlaz, a very old demon. He had a close rank to me, slightly higher. We weren't friends, but he wouldn't normally have gone off the rails at me like that. We have a tuna in common, so I wouldn't normally have, well, doesn't matter now, I guess, Solix says with a sigh. And why did he go ballistic? He didn't seem pleased about us being there. Was that it? Rose asks. He probably wasn't thrilled about that. Demons his age usually have opinions on people who aren't demons, but I don't know how he felt on that. It wasn't that, though. Solix answers her. Then what? Rose presses. Something else. Solix mumbles, looking off to the side. But we're safe here? Dave asks from atop the desk, one arm still out the window. Yeah, your mom's a badass witch, and this house has all kinds of shit that keep people from finding us. Solix nods. Dave seems satisfied with this and returns to his birds. He trusts what Solix says is completely true. What was that thing, Solix? Rose demands again. Is that the thing that I felt? I definitely felt something, you ask quickly. Well, how should I know if the thing that I'm thinking is the thing that you also happen to feel? I'm not you. I don't know what you did or didn't feel, Solix says evasively. You sigh. He's clearly not going to tell you much here. Assuming it is, would you have known that I'd be able to feel that thing? You ask him. Solix seems surprised by that question. All four of his eyes widen slightly. Actually, he's had them all open this whole time, which is a little unusual for him. I actually don't know that. I have no idea if you can feel her or not, Solix tells you, and that sounds honest to your ears. He just doesn't know, and you can't fault him for that. But who are we hiding from? Who made the attack, then? You've not answered anything important, Jade points out. Solix just shrugs. He's not going to answer that. What was the thing on the ground when you unmade that guy? You said not to look at it, but it looked like paper to me, you say, trying a different line of inquiry. If it's paper, it'd be an idea or thought written out on it. You don't want to read it unless you risk getting that in your head. The ash would be the residue of whatever else was put into him. I don't know what his maker usually uses. It was before my time, and his maker hasn't made anyone new since I've been alive, Solix answers. You said it'd infect us if we read it, Rose says in surprise. Or maybe it'd get in our heads and control us. We've got books like that in the library, you nod. Yeah, well, I'm betting nothing in your library is that level of power. You don't want to read it. Normally I'd have to stash that thing somewhere safe, but I didn't have time. Hopefully someone else there had enough sense to do it, Solix says unhappily. You said that he was important to that Matuna guy. He picked up what remained of him, right? Or is that not a demon thing? I know some species aren't attached to people's remains, and it wasn't like a lot remained. You trail off on that thought. Matuna will probably grab it, Solix agrees. But what? Jade starts. I should go check the perimeter. Dave, don't let anyone leave, okay? Solix says, and then whoosh, he's gone. What a jerk! Jade snaps and stamps her foot. Hey, cool it. I don't know if the thing Rose did muffles us jumping around in here, and we shouldn't disturb my mom, okay? Dave says to her quickly. Well, why can't she know we're here? Surely she'd want to know about a bunch of people in her house, Jade reasons. You can see her point, but then you don't remember any parents, so you don't really have any experience here. She's not big on surprises. We're going to be here tonight, so it'd be better just to have a secret sleepover and bail back to school tomorrow without her knowing. I was just about to ask where June was, because I don't think she said anything this whole time. And I was like, wait, did she come with them? But yeah, she's here. Okay. Agreed. There's a lot of things there's a lot of things I don't want to explain. Besides, Dave has a bathroom connecting to this room, so we'll be fine here overnight. When Solix gets back, I can have him magically fetch my mattress and we can settle in for the night. Rose nods. You lean against Dave's desk and try to think everything through. People seem surprised that the party happened at all.